Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Oh, hi, Tim Dillon.
Joe Rogan, thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Thank you for having me, sir. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. That was fun going over to the club.
It was amazing. It's going to be great.
Looks
It's going to be great. I'm excited about it. I'm excited, and Louis was there.
I'm glad we got him to look at it, too. He has some great notes.
He's been, what would you say, 30-something? I mean, you guys have been around the same time. Do you know?
He was a little bit before me, but he's got to be 35 years in now.
So he's been to every configuration of a comedy venue.
Yeah.
So have you probably. So you guys, hearing you guys talk about this place and that place, you now have all the benefit of all that knowledge to make your spot amazing.
And we're doing it from scratch.
Right.
So we could just adjust, change, do things.
Yeah.
He had really good notes today.
You have the money, you have the time. You have everything that would make it perfect.
It's exciting.
What about Cap City's going to open too?
They're open already.
you
Talon just did it.
Will you do you think you would threaten them, or should we would you do a bomb threat or something?
No, I'll work
Well, there
there.
should be some kind of war. No?
Nah.
No?
Who gives a fuck?
All right. I just thought it would be good.
If you're the United States, do you invade Cambodia in 2022? Why would you do that?
Well, maybe.
They're not a threat.
That's a good point. They're not a threat. Okay. So I like it. We're in a war already.
It's no war.
We're kind of in a little war. It's a minor war.
It's the opposite of a
It's
war.
a cold war.
It's a unity.
It's unity.
We're bringing everybody together.
Okay. I like
Texas
that.
doesn't want to fight New Mexico. We're all in the same country.
There's a lot of states Texas does want to fight.
Texas might want to fight California.
Texas and California should fight.
Texas. First, they want to fight Mexico.
California grows their own food. They have that benefit. Texas
they
has
grow
the guns.
Almonds.
They've got some good produce.
They waste all the water on almonds.
It's a lot of almonds, but almond milk is good.
It's not.
You don't like it?
It's gross. It's only good with sugar. You ever have almond milk with no sugar in it?
I get the one that's sweet. I get cookie dough flavored almond milk.
it's
Oh, yeah, no.
fucking-
I don't do unsweetened almond milk. I do chemical sweetener.
Of course.
Yeah.
Duncan Trussell was like, dude, I switched to almond milk. It's amazing. I go,
Yeah.
look at it right now
Right.
and tell me how many grams of sugar per serving.
Oh, it's crazy.
He's like, holy shit, it's 19.
Yeah. You know what I've been having some rarely, but in the Hamptons they have non-homogenized real cow's milk.
Oh, it's great.
It's really good.
It's better for you.
Yeah.
Raw milk is better for you.
It tastes better.
It just doesn't last long, but it's not supposed to last long.
No, it's supposed to come in a glass bottle.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to use it and then get rid of it.
Yeah, you're supposed to have it for a couple of days, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all it's supposed to
They
last.
have they have farm stands out there on that part of Long Island with fresh vegetables and then the milk and everything like that.
That's nice.
Yeah, it feels like when billionaires get involved, you have good options,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, how much time are you spending out in the Hamptons?
not a ton. I mean, we're on the road. We're back and forth everywhere. But I like to go out there and just chill and swim in the pool and invite the New York guys out, New York comics.
How long is that drive?
About an hour and 35 to 2 hours, depending.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll have them out for a day, and then everybody will go do spots at night.
No
So I'm doing a
kidding.
thing Labor Day. I'll have some people out there and stuff.
Is there any comedy out there in the Hamptons?
No, they don't want any comedy there or any tourism. There's very few hotels, and the hotels are $3,000 or $4,000 a night, and they're not anything great. But what they want is to keep people out. There's one road in and one road out. They've done a great job of keeping regular human beings out with their fat, disgusting families. They've kept them out, and they've done a great job. All the while tweeting about no human is illegal.
Right.
Love is love. We must embrace everybody.
Sure.
But what they've really done where they live, and this is what rich people are very good at. They're very good. They like to live in places that are inhospitable to other people. Like they put houses on cliffs in Malibu.
Yep.
Nowhere near anybody. And out in the Hamptons, they go to the far-flung end of Long Island. They like to be away from
Do
other
you
people.
go out there? Do you go to parties? You hang out with those people?
I went to one. No, I don't really get invited to parties. I'm
Why?
waiting.
I would invite you.
I would invite me too. But I've not been invited. I've not been invited. I was invited to 1 or 2 parties in Austin. I went. I like said something about them, and then I was never invited again.
I brought you to the Elon party.
Yes, that was very nice.
That was fun.
But I went to some tech guy's party, and I made like a joke or two about it on the podcast, and then the invitations dried up.
They're all wearing eyes wide shut masks.
Ben went back to his party. And the guy gave Ben like a dirty look. And I because I told Ben, I'm like, don't go. We're on this list by mistake. He doesn't want us coming back. He just didn't edit the list. Don't show up. Ben's like, I don't know. I think we're invited. I'm like, we're not. And he showed up, and the guy gave him a really dirty look.
Really?
And because he didn't want him there.
Really? You gave him a dirty look.
That's right. Because Ben is Ben writes my whole show.
He writes all the ad-libs.
Everything that I say that seems like it's off the top of my head is written by Ben Avery at Ben Avery is Good on Twitter, I think. And so anybody that's upset at anything I say, I'm an actor, and Ben is really the problem. So that's why the guy hated him. But yeah, I don't get invited to real parties out there. But out there is just about you have the beach and you have like green farms and trees, and you just chill. Just chill.
Do you ever see Howard Stern?
No.
Does he go out of his house?
He has a massive. He doesn't go out of his home. He's got a massive estate where he just chills. Most people there, I go out and we drive around and stuff and see stuff, but a lot of those people don't leave their home. So for the entire summer, they pretty much, maybe they go to 1 or 2 restaurants, they stay in their home, and then they have a private beach that is like behind their house. Oof. Yeah, you have Seinfeld out there, Stern, Alec Baldwin, my friend, who's there to relax. And by the way, congrats to Alec Baldwin. That just got ruled an accident.
It did?
It did.
When?
Recently.
I thought they said that he had to have pulled the trigger.
He did, accidentally.
But he lied and he said he didn't pull the trigger.
People get nervous.
Taron Butler from Taron Tactical.
Yeah.
What does this say here? Medical investigator rules Baldwin set shooting an accident. Well, of course, he's not trying to kill that lady in front of everybody. I don't understand why they're saying, but that doesn't mean he wasn't negligible. Just because it was an accident.
What did the guy from Taron Tactical say?
It's impossible for that gun to shoot. He showed me the gun. I have a video of it. I was like, I don't want to start trouble and release this. But in the video, he has the gun. Not the actual gun, but the same model gun. Yeah. And he's showing how the action on this works. And he's like, it's not possible for the hammer to go forward and just accidentally fire. And he cocks it back and shows how it works. He's like, you have to engage the trigger. And he's showing everybody in this video how it works.
He probably had Alec probably had the gun in his hand, and it's just kind of fun to pull the trigger. Right? I mean, if you have a gun, you go I wonder what this would feel like. And then...
Isn't it fucking wild that Hollywood in general is very anti-gun?
Yes.
But they promote guns more than any other media on the planet.
Right.
All their best movies, whether it's The Gray Man or whether you're watching The Terminal List or Mission Impossible, it's all guns save the day. Guns kill aliens, guns kill werewolves, guns kill everyone. Yeah. Everyone bad gets killed by guns.
That's right.
But guns are bad and you shouldn't have guns. It's crazy.
Well, these are also the same people that live in these 20,000 square foot homes and fly private jets, but talk endlessly about climate change. The same people. So it's to really, and I get it, because if they start paying you the kind of money they make to play pretend, they start paying you that kind of money to play dress up, to $80 million a year, $40 million a year, you start to go crazy. And when you develop this cognitive dissonance where you see yourself as something completely different than what other people see, and your behavior as something that's completely different. So they don't view that as hypocrisy. They view it as guns are bad, but we can make them good. You see how crazy that sounds?
So crazy.
But that's literally the way they think. Guns are not good, but in our hands, they're great because we can craft a narrative that makes them justified to have. And that woman that lives in her house who protected herself against an intruder, that's not Mission Impossible. So that's how crazy they are.
And it doesn't seem odd if you think about what they do. They make fake things.
That's right.
So of course they're fake. Everything they do is pretend.
And they're all fake people. You know, we've talked about this before on this show. I mean, actors and actresses, for the most part, have never met themselves. They don't know who they are. If they did, they'd probably not be that good at their job, which is fit. Like every dumb role that I get that I audition for, I've booked none, by the way, because I'm still just me trying to be a thing. But I can't, I'm not good at being, I'm not horrible, but I'm not.
You're not crazy enough to pretend to be someone else.
Yeah, it's hard. If you put me in a thing, it's like, oh, Tim Dillon is the thing. Even if I pretend to be Meghan McCain, people go, that's Tim Dillon. Like, it's not. Right. None of my imitations are the person. They're all just me, Rachel Levine, whoever it is. Some people want that's Rachel, but it's one of those things where the actors I know that I'm friends with are usually like good looking, but like they're not distinct looking, and they can fit easily into any of these characters, and they don't really know who they are. So if somebody tells them like 6-year-olds should get gender reassignment surgery, they go, okay. And if they go, no one should have a gun, they go, okay. Like they don't have opinions.
Well, it's also that system is set up so that you're always trying to get chosen for things.
That's right.
So you're always saying the things that you think people want to hear, and you're always espousing the correct political philosophies and positions on things, because your whole gig is trying to get people to choose you for something.
That's right.
So you can't do anything controversial, or you can't escape those lines.
And we need actors. Here's the thing. You need movies, you need actors, and you need them to be dumb. You need them to be good looking and dumb. And you need them to just do what they're told. Because you can't have an actor on set going, well, I actually think it would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
And every suggestion that most actors have is bad because they're stupid. So you need them to be exactly kind of what they are. It would just be nice if we could just turn down the volume on the politics and everything else and just kind of let them do what they're good for, which is to pretend to be other people. Because you need that. You don't want to see me. You don't want to have the gray man with me. You want Ethan Hawke. You don't want, what's the thing on Stranger Things? I can't play all of the kids on Stranger Things. It would be odd. People wouldn't like it. You can't do like a young adult Twilight with me in it. So they need to exist, but they just can't talk about, espionage or whatever they're talking about. Unless it's about their movie. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I don't need,
Don't you think that more people are aware of that now than ever? And one of the things that's like the Johnny Depp trial or Alec Baldwin getting in trouble, we're realizing more and more that these people are insane.
Well, they're crazy. But it's also what happens, I think, when, everything is at your fingertips. You've removed most of the struggles that normal people go through. And you're incredibly lucky and privileged, and you inhabit this rarefied air that very few people do, and you have like kind of the time and you have the ability to go as crazy as you can. And that most people maybe don't have the time. Like I have friends where I'm like, thank God you have work. Thank God you have a job. Thank God you have a family. And thank God you don't have a lot of money, because you don't need to have the freedom to be the full version of yourself. Like that can be a little bit of a problem.
Is this an intervention?
No. I think you're kind of poor, to be honest. I've spent time in the Hamptons. No one thinks you have a lot of money there. They think you have like cute money. It's like podcast money is like cute. But these people own third world countries. So no, I'm here to help you. I think you're struggling. I think you're, it's.
But there is a hypocrisy in talking about that.
Yes, you are now the wealthiest comedian, really, other than Seinfeld, that's ever lived. That's pretty much the truth.
I think Kevin Hart has more money than me.
That might be true.
Yeah, I think he does.
But he won't.
What do you
know what I mean?
What?
You're gonna you leave the planet a billionaire. I think so. If you would listen to me.
What do I have to do?
Well, if you get into the weed game, you're a billionaire in a week.
I'm getting into the weed game then.
I'm telling you, like, you just with a few good decisions,
Right.
you got to be. You're going to get $1 billion. Ooh. And Kevin could too, but you're up there, and it's wild to see. You know, it's good, and you deserve it. But I'm horribly jealous. And every minute I say, it should be me. Every minute. I tell Ben, I go, it should be me.
Well, you're already on a fucking pretty...
Oh, Patreon? That's nothing.
Rise.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, but you're on the way up.
Well, that's very nice of you to say.
This is just the beginning. I mean, if you go back to my podcast 10 years ago, I wasn't making any money.
Well, what's weird right now is that, like, it is weird. We were just talking about, like... Society is weird in the sense that there is a lot of money and then there's a lot of problems. And we're learning that money doesn't fix all the problems. This is something interesting. Yeah. You can throw money at things and it's not fixed, right?
Sometimes it creates problems.
Sometimes it creates problems. And then you're in a very interesting place where you go, well, California's got a $21 billion surplus. And you go, you should be able to just fix it. Homelessness, whatever.
Yeah.
$21 billion. More than you thought you would have. But you realize that human beings gum that system up a lot. And you go, oh, it's not as easy as we think to just fix something with money. You know?
How does California ever get fixed? Because when we were just talking about it in the lobby.
It has the most stunning natural beauty of any state. It has so many things that are positive. But then there are so many problems. And those problems seem insurmountable. Now.
But they didn't 3-4 years ago.
That's right.
That's what's crazy.
I remember
in 2018, it seemed like LA was a great place to be. Just a lot of traffic, but pretty fucking fun.
That's right. In New York, there in the early 90s, a Rockette was stabbed in the back in Central Park. One of the people who does the Radio City Christmas show. And it was on the cover of the New York Post and the Times, all these places. And it was this watershed moment where people in New York City were like, fuck, we have a problem. It was a horrifying image, very visceral image of the criminal element that was running the city. People were getting stabbed and shot and murdered, junkies everywhere. And then and that was what led to Giuliani. And then Giuliani really did clean up New York. He's lost his mind a little bit now, but he absolutely cleaned up New York. And he stopped people from loitering and doing all these things. People do not want to hear that. It wasn't only Giuliani. Other things happened. Disney kind of came in to Times Square. There was a lot of corporate pressure as well to make things safe. But you don't have a figure like that in California. Rick Caruso, potentially. I mean, he's running. But the problem is you have an LA City Council where they're crazy. And they can kind of stop what the mayor from doing. And, you need to outlaw camping. You need to outlaw it. You need to figure out another way. You cannot have people live on the street. You have to figure out a way to house these people. And it's very difficult. The problem with California is New York is smaller, and people's decisions affect other people's lives more. And California, Pasadena has nothing to do with Manhattan Beach, which has nothing to do with Thousand Oaks, which has nothing to do with West Hollywood. So everybody's kind of in their own little spot. And if they're not immediately affected by it, they just go, huh. So New York, you do have that idea of this is an organism. It's a city. We're all on the subway. We're all, affected. So people, I think, are more likely to invest themselves in having certain outcomes in New York.
Don't you think it's a different time, too? Because in the 90s, when you go back to the 90s, when Giuliani took over in New York, there was no social media. So there wasn't these rigid ideologies that people have carved into their skin.
Yes. I think there was no social media. And I think people, were not as coarsened as they are now with the idea. People have become very cynical now, which I get. I'm one of them. And they tend to look at all political solutions as inherently fallible, that they won't work because politicians have proven again and again to fail all the time. And you just end up being very cynical about it. And even, guys that have good ideas and say the right things, you go, yeah, but you're a politician. So, but your nature as a human being is to tell me something I would like to hear. And then we see the big, even Trump, who came in and said, I want to do this, that, and the other thing. There are all of these forces that keep Trump from doing these things, whether you agree with them or not. It's not as easy. You can't just wave a wand and make things happen. There's this corrupt system that has gone on forever. And the answer to that is, who knows? You don't want to put a dictator in. You don't want a guy with absolute power. But you also look at the system we have now as this weird, closed doors, behind the scenes, where everybody's out for themselves. And you go, how do you get anything done? How does anything get done when we have Congress people engaging in insider trading or out there?
Wait.
Yeah.
Who's doing that?
Pelosi.
Really?
Nancy Pelosi and her husband.
Are you sure?
I would guess. If I had to guess, I would say they are taking information and weaponizing it and using it to enrich themselves.
How is that not illegal? Can you turn the AC up? It's a little warm in here, Jamie. Crank it up a little bit. I just don't understand how that's not illegal. I really can't imagine. Did you see what they asked Nancy Pelosi about it? And she's like, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Just puts the microphone down.
Well, this is
okay, bye.
Part of the reason why somebody like her might want to stay in office forever is because if she gets out, they might start looking into stuff.
Yeah, then they come for her.
Right? So it might be, maybe you go, why is this old? Because she's an old dinosaur.
Yeah,
she's a pterodactyl.
Yeah.
And you go, why is she in there? And you go, well, part of her being in there might be a way to insulate herself from people looking into things and going, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, the husband just dumped $5 million into NVIDIA right before they put out, they decided to do something with chips. They started to do something with semiconductor chips in the United States.
Right.
So right before they passed this, he goes and spends $5 million on
and those
NVIDIA
are the
stock.
Democrats. Those are supposed to be the people that are for the working class, which is like funny.
What's weird about
so
that?
old.
He sold it right before it too, which is a very strange thing that happened. I don't understand.
What do you mean?
Part.
He sold it when it was down and then bought more?
He bought it, and then like a week, it seems like a week or two after everyone started making a note of it, they sold it, and they said like he sold it at a loss.
Oh, he probably had to cover his ass.
See, like right here it says he sold it at a loss.
Wow. He sold it to avoid any misinformation. Click on that.
That was an awkward dinner. Yeah, she's like, get it out, dump it. Can you imagine her just going, dump it, dump it. What did you do, Paul? Dump it.
I told you to do it under another name. Oh my God. It's amazing that he would blow $5 million at a loss. Wow. He sold millions worth of stocks in chipmaker NVIDIA at a loss the day before the Senate passed a multi-billion-dollar bill aimed in part at boosting U.S. chip manufacturing that sent NVIDIA shares surging. A decision Pelosi's office said was to avoid further misinformation about the couple's investments. Oh my God, that is amazing. What kind of fucking misinformation would it be when we actually have the information? That's what's wild.
It's not misinformation.
They just call things misinformation.
Yeah, it's information.
Yeah, it's actual real information.
Yeah. So this is the problem, It's like, how do you, when a country has reached this point where these are the actors and they're bad actors and we know that, and this is only what we know about.
Yeah.
The next inevitable step, which again I don't think is good, is a dictatorship. Is somebody who comes in and executes all of these people and goes, I'm now which is not good, but that does seem to be the next inevitable step.
They're going to do that through a method where it doesn't look like a dictatorship, like a social credit score system that's attached to a centralized digital currency.
That's right.
You see Maxine Waters the other day talking about a digital currency
That's
that
right.
to compete with China.
They can delete you. They want to delete.
Yeah.
They've always wanted to delete you. Like I used to, a couple of weeks ago, I was getting 100,000 views on an Instagram story. Now I'm getting 30. I don't know what happened, but they just shut something off. They could just shut things off.
Yeah.
You notice these weird things that they do, and you notice it on YouTube. So they want to be able, and eventually they want to fuck with your money. They want to fuck with your money because that's the heart and soul of what they can do. So that centralized currency or whatever it is, they will just enforce compliance by the terrifying reality that they can take it all from you. immediately.
And there's got to be some. Well, we know there's coordination between Twitter and the White House.
Yes.
Is that Alex Berenson case? Do you know what's going on with that?
I know Alex Berenson. I don't know that he was deleted from Twitter, right?
And he got back on. He won in court.
Oh, interesting.
He's back on Twitter. Not only that, but now he wants to sue the White House because he has documents that show that the White House directly contacted Twitter about the things that he was proven to be correct about, which is why he was let back on Twitter.
Yeah.
But they were saying, what are you doing about Alex Berenson? The White House directly contacted Twitter asking what they're doing about Alex Berenson.
I remember with you, they said something about you, too.
Yeah, that the government needs to do more.
The government needs to do
Jen
more.
Psaki.
Jen Psaki, the government should do more.
Or that Spotify should do more.
So they believe that these are their shock troops that can take people off that they don't like.
Yeah.
And then the people on the far left, I think, are also waking up because they, are starting to realize that journalists like Chris Hedges, who was a war correspondent, who's a socialist writer and a brilliant writer, a lot of his stuff was taken off because it happened to be on RT. And they took all, Chris Hedges' show On Contact. They had all of these hours and hours of him conducting interviews
Abby
with
Martin's
people. Abby Martin.
Her entire library was removed.
Entire
because
library.
It's on RT.
So I think people even, it's not necessarily ideology. It's are you a critic of the current regime? Are you a critic of the way that the empire is manifesting itself, however it is? Are you a critic of that? And if you are, how do we deal with you? How do we deal with you? And we'll take the social media, and then eventually we'll take the money. I mean, that's probably what ends up happening.
What do you think they're going to do to you?
I don't know. If I stay where I am right now, like if I don't get to your level, which is going to be, I don't think I will get to your level. If I stay where I am right now, probably nothing. If I get bigger, I don't know. They might shut me off, or they might try to they demonetize a lot of our stuff.
Yeah.
Thank God for awesome companies like Patreon that knock on
Substack
wood.
is doing that now. Substack has got podcasts now.
I know.
Videos.
They had a meeting with me. They have no money.
Really?
Yeah, they have no money. I'm not moving from Patreon to Substack for no money. Why would I do that? It's insane. They had a meeting with me, and they're like, yeah, we want you to come over because you like it. I'm like, are you on crack? I know you had one of them here, and they're like nice enough people.
Great guy.
Yeah,
great ethics.
Good. They have him. What if Spotify came to you and instead of $100 million, they said, "Don't you like it? Don't you want to come over because you like it?" It's like, no, get the fucking checkbook out, you cheap fucks. What are we talking about? We're wasting our goddamn time. So, and yeah, I like Substack, and good for them. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're all every day. I try to make good moves with money because I go, we're all living at the whims of an algorithm we don't understand.
Yeah.
And we have no idea who the fuck these people are. Good for Netflix. I just put a special out on Netflix. That's called
your new material is fucking fantastic.
Well, thank you. The
really
Netflix is called "The Jews Started AIDS."
Is that real?
Yeah, it's the special. It's called "The Jews
But
Started AIDS."
Is that a true fact?
And it is. And Netflix has not given me any notes on it. They actually said thank you for doing this. No, Ted Sarandos called me personally and said like, thanks. No, it's a joke. But the new special I put out, we say retard and dyke and faggot. We do jokes about the vaccine. And they didn't give us any notes. And they just said, oh, you're a big idiot and you're a comedian and you could say whatever you want. So that's good. That's a nice thing. And no one really online got too mad about it. One guy wrote, because I made fun of fast food workers, he's like, they don't own the companies. And I'm like, thanks. Thanks, guy. But, but nobody was that mad. I think we're getting to the point now where people are just trying to have fun again.
We were just having that conversation with Louis.
Yes.
Where it's like you could see, he's saying the green grass is coming through the snow.
Yes, all the cool kids now are unwoke. Some of them are going back to Christianity because it's the only way to be rebellious. Because, everybody's blue-haired, non-binary talking about piss orgies. And that's like, it's the cover of Newsweek. So you have to be like a Catholic, Opus Dei, like saying the rosary to be a fucking problem now.
Yeah.
Like you used to be able to just dye your hair and get a tattoo and a nose ring. Now that's like, oh, what are you running for Congress? So now the other side of it is a lot of people are kind of going, there's elements of that are good, and there's elements of that are not great, probably. But that's what young kids are doing now because they're like, "Fuck this shit." They're like, they've realized that how empty this current world is that we've created spiritually for people because it is empty.
It is empty.
It's just very empty. It's about money and profit, and everything has no history or tradition, or everything's so disorienting. Things happen so quickly that the pace of change is like making people go, what the fuck? And people need to situate themselves in the universe, and they don't know how to do it. And they're going, dude, I'm like, this rock is spinning and I don't know what's going on. And every day there's a new edict about what you can say, what's real and what's not. And people are going back to things that root them. And one of them is religion. And I think religion has a lot of positives. I mean, there's some negatives, but I think religion has positives for sure.
It's definitely a good moral scaffolding for a lot of people.
You need something to ground you, make you humble, make you realize that you are living for a finite amount of time on earth. You should treat people with respect. There's a code is good to have a moral code. I'm not saying what yours should be or not, but just the constant stuffing money down your throat, having tons of meaningless sex, constantly obsessing over material things. These are probably ultimately spiritually empty things.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting a church.
That's the only way to get out of this. We need a new church.
We need a new church, and me and Caitlyn Jenner are starting a church. It's for progressive rich people that are also racist. It's important to have a religion that recognizes, as a gay person who doesn't really, gays are fine, and Caitlyn doesn't really like trans people. So we are the figureheads of the church, and we are ministering mainly to rich heterosexuals.
Do you get heat from the gay population? Do gay people get upset at you?
No, they don't really care that much. I mean, they would if they knew more about me, but they're in their own world. Everyone's in their own world now.
Yeah.
So if you're in my little podcast world, you're in that. If you're in the other world, if you watch SNL, it's a different world. We're on a different planet. If you watch SNL every week, like put it on and go, eh. Like if then we're on you don't know who I am. And you would hate me if you knew about me, but you don't even know who I am. So everybody's kind of doing their own thing. And if you listen to me every week, or if you watch me and Christine and Tom on the live stream, watch people like crush penises with stilettos or whatever those sick fucks are watching, I mean, then yeah, it's just different worlds.
What they're doing over there at
brilliant.
Your mom's house is fucking wild.
It's wild.
It's wild. No one's ever done it before. To have a pay-per-view completely uncensored. I mean, it's like the worst of Live Leak, the worst of...
It feels very old school internet.
Yeah.
People really pull up videos. It's cringe. It's crazy. It's fun. But they're also brilliantly really funny and really good podcasters. Every other thing that probably tried to do something like this, or back in the day, you didn't have funny people that were like, they're able to actually put it in the context of a show, and it's great.
But no one's ever done it like that. I mean,
right.
We had websites before. Like, do you remember the Style Project?
Yes.
The Style Project was fucking awesome.
Yes.
That was the place for you to go to see the most
fucked up shit,
disturbing, fucked up parts of the world. And you'd find them on the internet, and it opened people's eyes to it. But now to have a show like that with comedians and guests, like,
oh yeah.
I almost threw up 3 or 4 times when I...
Your stomach, you try to, the first couple of videos you watch, you try to go like, I'm going to be tough. And then like you get to a point where it's like your body has these reactions independent of your mind.
Yeah.
Like your stomach you start to feel something, you go, ooh, in my stomach. Like they played a video last night of a woman's stiletto heel like crushing a guy's penis through a hole in the floor. And it was really tough.
I don't know.
There's still a week and a half to watch it. Yeah,
I just don't understand why they enjoyed that so much. They enjoy it so much. The glee in Tom and Christina's faces when people are watching
they're sick, But they're you can't watch stuff like that and not be a little sick. But they're comics. They have problems. But it's a great show. It's a fun show.
No, it's great. I'm glad they're out here too.
Yeah,
they have an incredible studio, isn't it?
Yeah,
amazing.
When do they ban abortion here? Do you know?
I think
Is it coming?
It's already 6 weeks, which is basically a ban.
Yeah.
6 weeks is a ban because
Yeah.
if you miss your period and it's only 2 weeks later than that, and
Right.
now you can't get an abortion, it's basically banned.
Interesting. So it's 6 weeks.
Yeah.
All of these issues, the UK seems to have a decent.
Yeah.
The UK, they don't do the late term. It's like there's
Right.
like 3 months. Like traveling outside of America, there's just a lot of things we could learn from other countries.
Yeah.
Where we don't have to be insane all the time about everything. Everything doesn't have to be this incredibly polarizing issue.
Yeah.
Like there can be things where it goes, yeah, I think Germany and England, they have like a law where it's like, yeah, within a certain amount of time, you can have an abortion.
Yes.
After that,
Yeah.
you can't.
That's the reasonable perspective.
Yeah, like there's got to
Yeah.
be a little bit of a but there's no value in compromise.
The reasonable perspective is always cases of rape, cases of incest, children,
Sure.
all those things.
Yes.
That's the reason. And then time. Like how much
Yes.
time? At what point in time is that a viable human being?
100%.
Because they're getting into these 6-month time periods.
No, that's crazy.
We talked about this thing on the podcast the other day where there was an article that was talking about how people got arrested for an abortion because of Facebook messages.
That's crazy.
But then we looked into it.
It was
it's
fake.
It's way worse than that.
Oh, wow.
It was a young girl, and her mother got her the abortion pill online. She took the pill, had a stillborn baby, and then they buried it. And apparently there was thermal damage to the baby, which
Right.
indicates they tried to burn it. And then they apparently, did they rebury it? Is that what happened?
And what
Yeah,
state
again,
was
but-
this?
I'm not sure what state, but when people wrote the article was people are getting arrested for an abortion because of Facebook messages. You're like, oh my God, this is Big Brother. But then you look at the actual story, and it's way more horrific. It's like,
Yeah.
it was 6 months into the pregnancy. She takes these pills.
Right.
It's stillborn, has, the abortion, then buries the baby, and apparently burned it. Which is, that's not good.
It's not good.
Yeah, this is not. You're clearly, you feel like you did something wrong, and you're trying to cover it up.
Well, these are the issues that there's, that's not good.
No.
There has to be some type of,
Yeah. But at
standard.
A certain point, it's like, when are you allowed to take that pill? Are you allowed to take the abortion pill?
Well,
4
6
weeks
months,
in?
that's a fully
Yeah.
functioning, that's a baby that could be born and have a life outside of the womb.
And they do all the time.
Yeah, so that to me seems crazy, and I feel like to most people that seems crazy. I don't think anybody, this is the thing, it's like the vast majority of people that aren't on Twitter and that aren't that are not making money off being inflammatory or whatever, they have, like if you go to people and you go, hey, should somebody have an abortion at 6 months? They go, no. They go, no. If you go to them and go, hey, should somebody who's 6 years old be able to permanently alter their gender? They go, no. This is the vast majority. The issue we have is that none of those people have any representation in the government. And really, they're losing it in the media, too.
The only media that supports that sort of reasonable perspective is right-wing media, and they go all the way to the
And they
point of
go all the
conception.
way to the right, where they go, no abortions, ban gay marriage, this, that, and the other thing, no contraception.
Right.
And so reasonable people that are in the middle, which Kansas just voted to keep abortion. And Kansas is not a blue state.
Yeah.
But Kansas, there's a lot of people. So the reality is that, like, it's not very sexy, and you don't make a lot of money with a reasonable compromise. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody gets rich online talking about that. You get rich going, I'm right, everyone else is wrong.
Yeah.
All of my opponents and enemies should be destroyed, and I should be the king. People go, yay, money, money.
And most people don't know the actual laws.
That's right.
Like there was some actress went to France, and she was talking about how great it is to have croissants and women's rights. But they don't realize that even in France, they have a limit on late-term abortions.
Of course.
They have, I think it's 24 weeks in France.
This is what I mean. There are actual societies that have made peace with these issues.
Yeah.
They don't continue to plague them, but it does require a degree of rational, compromise where, America's an amazing place when you leave it for a little bit and you realize how dysfunctional it is, how big it is. How large it is, how amazingly massive and vast it is, and how hard it is to get anyone on the same page about anything.
Yeah.
Because people in Louisiana, we were just talking about L.A., as people in, the Hollywood Hills and people in fucking downtown L.A. have nothing to do with each other. Well, now imagine people in the backwoods of like Louisiana and the forests of Portland, Oregon. I mean, this is such a massive country, so many people to get on the same page about anything. So you're going to have these states that are going to have fights, and then they're going to make laws, and then certain people will move here, and certain people will move there. But it's such a boring way to live to me, to be constantly uprooting yourself because of political reasons. To me, it's just you become this person that you don't even know who you are anymore. You're like, well, I'm a reaction to that,
Yeah.
And I understand why people do it. 'Cause if I had kids, I don't want them living in a fucking hellscape of LA or whatever, that, you know what I mean? I get it. Some people need to live somewhere where they have safety for their family. But it just feels like the lack of uniform standards in this country hurt it a little bit. The idea that everybody is so all over the place hurts it a little bit. There should be certain things we're able to come together on.
Yeah, but then do you think that it's a good thing to have states' rights where you have different law? I mean, that's the great thing about that is places that have like legalized marijuana.
Sure.
There's places that have things that are outside the norm.
Yeah, I think states' rights are good. And I don't think I don't necessarily say it's a one-size-fits-all, but if you look at how profoundly dysfunctional the country is and how it just seems like infighting and everybody's at war all the time about all these things, I feel like some of these fights are things that, for the strength of our overall union, should be decided, and that should be it. Like, if we're going to be a strong country that has a unified front in the face of other countries, I think we have to figure certain things out. I don't think you can have 50 places doing everything completely differently. That seems longer, because then why be a country? And I'm not saying you shouldn't have different regional things, but I'm trying to find the reason we're a country right now. Other than, you know what I mean? Other than like the economic and the military and the fact that it's been a scam for 50 years of cheap credit and an economy based on war and blah, blah, blah. But what would keep us a country going forward if we're all just going to spiral off into our own directions?
Patriotism.
Yeah. Sports, Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Like, what will keep us? If Texas is their own thing and California, I mean, these states are big enough to be their own countries.
For sure, if it was Europe.
Yeah, so why would it be America in 30 years? And it might not be. It's just interesting.
Well, the fear is that to compete with other countries that are united, like China,
that's
we
right.
have to become closer to them, and that's what Maxine Waters was saying. Which
that's right.
I mean, that's the thinly veiled.
And I've had the journalist Whitney Webb on my show. Who has a book out, and she said that a lot of our AI and stuff, a lot of our tech people go, listen, in order to compete with Chinese technology, which is a lot of it's surveillance technology, things like that, we have to have it first. Ours has to be better, and we have to have technological hegemony, and we have to sell it to the world before they sell it to the world. And so we have to become a little bit of a police state, too.
I think it woke a lot of people's eyes up when the pandemic hit, when we couldn't get things shipped over here,
Yeah.
how much they make overseas, and
Oh, dude,
how much we need.
90% of antibiotics
Yeah.
are like made in China, something crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Well, I mean, all of our electronics, there is something highly ironic about
Yeah.
tweeting about woke politics on a phone that's made by slaves.
Of course.
I mean,
Of course.
it's really like the height of it.
Yeah.
Because that's the number one distribution method is through phones.
Yeah.
Or any kind of electronics. It's really the only distribution method for that information.
It seems tough to beat China, and I don't know that it'll happen. It does seem like they're a tough. It's going to be tough.
Well, they're connected. The government
Yeah.
and the military is inexorably connected to business.
Yes.
You cannot operate without the consent and the approval of the Chinese government.
It's a tough country to beat. I, of course, believe in China. I believe in one China. I don't recognize Taiwan. I never have since a boy. Since I'm a young boy.
Do you speak Mandarin?
I speak fluent Mandarin. I will, ever since I was a young child on Long Island, my parents said, we do not recognize Taiwan in this house. And
You call it Chinese Taipei?
They go, yeah. They go, we believe in one China. And they explained it to me, and we had a thing on the wall. So I that's where I'm at. But Biden, you, and the rest of the cucks can go over there to Taiwan and do whatever the fuck you want. But no, here's the other thing. It's like, why am I, what? I read a little bit about that. I'm like, yeah, of course China thinks Taiwan's part of them. And I'm not trying to start problems, but it's like, I'm not fighting these wars. I'm not going to the Ukraine, and I'm not going to Taiwan. So figure it out. We got 1 million fucking nuclear weapons, and we're surrounded by oceans. We should be fine. Enough already. Truly.
But not.
It's my stance.
Because they have supersonic weapons now.
Yeah, but so do we. We have everything they have.
Do we?
Of course we do.
Do we 100% have supersonic
We
weapons?
absolutely have everything they have. Why wouldn't we? What, are we not as evil? Are we not as smart? Have we not been breeding sociopaths forever? We invented it. We blew everyone out. They've never even used, we're like, they have supersonic weapons. We're the only ones who've used the fucking weapons. We're the only ones who've really used nukes. So I'm pretty sure that whatever some monster thought of, we also have. We've also got a lot of shit.
What do we have? Does the U.S. have
Well, we
supersonic
won't even
weapons?
know. We don't know what we have.
I think they said they're testing them, right? Haven't they said that?
Yes, but we also wouldn't know what the fuck we have.
We don't know
Right.
what we have.
That's the problem.
Who knows what we have? But we got to get on the same page here. You know what I mean? Like, we need to just fucking cut the bullshit. Stop. Just have fucking rules. Stop with you can be trans when you're 17.
17?
17, but not fully. You have to do a summer of like fake trans, and then 18. As soon as if we can draft you into war, you can go chop yourself. But you're going to war. You know what I mean? Trans people get free operations, but they do 2 years in the military. Boom, done. Done. It's over. Roe v. Wade, you have to have your children, but you have to give the babies, we have to have them. They go right into like we conscript them into some thing. They go mine Bitcoin or whatever. You have to have your baby. We take it though. Property of the state. Fine. Be more responsible. There's ways to do it. We can solve all these problems. Here's the thing with the cops. You can't defund them. They have to be there, but you should be able to slap them occasionally. Citizens should be able to slap the police, and the police can't do anything back. So there's got to be ways and rules to fix it. Because otherwise, we're just going to have all these problems forever, you know?
But what kind of, like, in all seriousness,
Yes.
what kind of rules could be established that would unite people?
Well,
And is it a rule thing or is it a leader thing? Like, if we had a leader that united people?
You need a leader. You need somebody who can say, listen, everybody, because everybody is both things inside of them, like whether they know it or not. Like everybody is a psychopathic Texas gun nut, and everybody is a fat blue-haired dyke in Portland. We all have those two things in us. We all have a crazy meat in the woods Proud Boy and an Antifa fat bitch in us, and we have to make sure that the fusion of those two things is what makes us great. You know, we all have those two things. All of us get mad at corporations and want to burn them down, but we don't go into the Portland Center and throw eggs at a Starbucks because we're sane. And then all of us get mad when, like, I don't know, like somebody, whatever, like at a fast food place, someone of a different race doesn't get our order right. We all get mad, but we don't go into the woods with a burning cross because we have things to do. So what we have to realize is that we're Americans. You know, we're deeply selfish monsters that have been bred to destroy all life on Earth. We have to not lose sight of that message. We're here to fuck things up for everyone else, not each other. And that's what we had in the 80s and the 90s. We had a commitment to apathy while our leaders ran around pillaging the earth. And we made great movies and great art, and it was fine. Yes, people got killed, but people always get killed. But now we're at war with each other. We should just be enjoying the spoils of the end of the empire. Truly. You should be enjoying it. So many people got killed, murdered, tortured, maimed for us to have all the nice things we have. Do you know how insane it is to not enjoy it? You know how crazy it is to not enjoy a McMansion, a flat screen TV, a McFlurry? You know how much blood is in the street for those things? And people act like they don't even matter. And they're fighting about all this bullshit. It's crazy. Anyway, that's the truth. That's the real truth. Nobody wants to hear it, but that is the truth. We have a lot of these things are nice, but some of them are ill-gotten gains. Fine. You know, not everybody picking tomatoes is happy about it. But have you ever had a nice Jersey thick beefsteak tomato? It's good. Imagine having one and then fighting with someone about something. It's stupid. If there's a hell, we're all going. And if there's not, we get reincarnated when we're Beatles or something. But just enjoy it. and nobody wants to enjoy it. And that's what makes me upset, is that we used to have a country built on enjoyment, built on fat, stupid people enjoying the work of a small group of demons, and now we can't even enjoy that. Can't even have fun.
You know what I think unites us?
Yeah.
Aliens.
That's interesting. See, this is your thing, and no one cares about aliens, but they should.
Yeah, I think
Some people do.
I think that's what unites us. I think if they come, then we
oh,
get
you're
it-
right. You're
then
certainly
we
right
get
about that.
United, and then we realize, like, oh my God, like we're thinking we're in control.
That's right.
And we are just the shit throwing monkeys of the universe.
That's right. And if aliens come down here and fuck us all up and put us in line, it could be the best thing in the world for us.
I think they come down and shut down all the nukes.
Interesting.
I think that's it. I think they're like watching two brothers fight in the yard. Like, they just let them sort it
Right.
out. Don't let them stab each other.
Right.
Let them sort it out.
Right.
And then when it gets too much, like, okay, break it up.
Yeah.
All right, we need some rules here.
We do need someone to come in here and just shut us down a little bit.
Do you remember Ronald Reagan said that?
Yes.
He said that in a speech to the United Nations.
He said, we'll unite in the face of like
Yeah.
an existential.
Yeah, and then all the alien people went nuts, like, oh my God, he knows something.
But you know, all these years and all these disclosures, and we still don't know shit, right?
Why would we?
I know, it's amazing. Like all these alien disclosures, all this shit,
Yeah.
and no one knows anything.
Well, do you think ants in one of those leafcutter ant colonies have a detailed understanding of the way
that's a
nuclear
good
power
idea.
works?
That's a good idea. That's true. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what it's like. I
It's-
mean, we
yeah.
like to think that we're super advanced, but we are, but only compared to other things on Earth.
That's right, because those aliens have probably bred out all the things that bother us,
Yeah.
like personalities and
Gender.
sex and gender and everything.
Yeah, hormones.
They're probably
Emotions.
so maybe this is like we're just in this sloppy stage of truly becoming those higher level people, beings.
I think that's what's happening. I think that's part of what our obsession with gender and gender neutral and gender
Right.
this is going. Like we're going to be genderless. All
Yeah.
it's going to take is something that they can do technologically that replaces all the things you get from biological love and fear.
That's right.
and emotions.
But
and
isn't it good to know that
need.
we lived in the best times
Oh, yeah. We
of
lived in the
America?
wildest times.
We had the wildest, but we also lived in the best times. Like in 50 years, it's not going to be as good.
What year were you born?
1985.
So you were born before the internet.
Good run.
So you.
I remember what it was like.
Yeah. So you remember what it was like pre-internet.
Yes.
I remember what it was like pre-answering machine. I'm 55.
That's
I'm
crazy.
fucking old. I remember everything. I remember pre-call waiting. I remember when you got a beep beep and you realized
Wow.
someone else was calling. You're like,
Fuck.
holy shit, this is crazy.
big, yeah.
Another person is calling while I'm on a line with a different person.
Yeah.
It was
Like
the future.
we've experienced this amazing time and the way the climate and everything within 30 to 50 years. I mean, it's going to, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, the climate thing is interesting because it's hard to figure out who's accurate. I've talked to people that they're
Yeah.
skeptical about forecasts because and this is a guy, was it Steve Kirsch? No, what was the gentleman's name that did the podcast? That was the guy who wrote that book Unsettled. It's a very good book because he's a physicist and he's a very sort of stoic guy who explains things from a point. You know his name?
Stephen Koonin.
Koonin, that's right, Stephen Koonin. This book, Unsettled, I recommend it. It's very,
Interesting.
very
And
interesting.
But it's just whether human beings are contributing to the degree that people say they are or not, it's just going to suck.
I don't know.
Things are getting hot. There's droughts. There's all kinds of problems.
Yeah, I think things are definitely getting hot, and I
Things
think
just
we
change.
definitely are contributing to that.
Yeah.
But the question is how much, and even if we weren't, would it
Yeah.
still be happening? And it seems like it has in
Sure.
history.
Yeah, my point is just like we had a nice real run here of like, before it gets really bad. Well, and it'll last for a few more. We'll get a couple of years out of it.
How bad do you think it's going to get?
Well, I don't know if the droughts keep going and the extreme heat keeps going. Those aren't good.
No.
The hurricanes and all that stuff. I mean, it seems like
Yeah, but see, that's what Steve Koonin said. It's
Yeah.
like those have not increased. In fact, they've decreased in power.
okay.
Like we have this idea that everything is ramping up, and he's
Yeah.
like, that's not true.
Right.
And if you look at like long term, like we're looking at things in terms of our own lifetime. And
Right.
this is not my perspective. This is his
Right.
perspective. If you look at a long-term model, like 1,000 years,
Yeah.
you have this dip that goes up and down,
Right.
regardless of
because we don't zoom out enough. It's very possible. It's probably true. It just does seem like with more and more people, even if the climate stays relatively consistent, just the amount of people,
Yeah.
things are just going to get worse.
Well, the amount of people is interesting, but in places where it's urbanized, the birth rate is dropping.
Right.
And that's what Elon's worried about. That's his excuse for having 90 kids.
Interesting.
He thinks people need to have more people.
Right.
Which is interesting.
And I'm not even an anti-people person. I just mean like there is an inevitability to things becoming unmanageable. It does seem like that. And it just seems like that. And I don't know if that's true or not, but it feels like it does.
Well,
it feels like it is. Everyone's living in their own realities and everybody, it just feels like we're heading towards problems.
When you get big numbers, things become harder to manage, right?
Harder.
And that's one of the reasons why Austin cleaned up its homeless population so
Right.
easy. Because we only have 1 million people. There was only
Right.
2,000 homeless people.
Not a lot.
So they took them, they put them in shelters, they
That's
put them
right.
in hotels. They did a good job. They
Right.
took the tents away.
That's
it's
right.
one of the few cities where you go where you don't see any tents. You see one or two, and
There's
they always
no
clean them up.
tents.
They
Yeah,
clean them
there's
up.
no tents here anymore.
But it was bad for a
There's
while.
still some vagrants.
Oh, yeah, there's still
There's
vagrants.
still some vagrants.
You can't keep people from wandering around the street, and they definitely need more mental health care, and they definitely
Sure.
need more people that can take care of these folks and help
Yeah.
them out. But that's the problem. The
Beverly
problem-
Hills does a great job of it.
They do.
Beverly Hills does a great job.
Yeah. Well, they also, they have a lot of fucking money,
Well, listen,
and it goes other places.
if Jamal Khashoggi had to get it so that I can enjoy a nice walk to get coffee in the morning, it is what it is.
Did you see they fucking arrested that woman who's a PhD student for retweeting and following
Stop
activists?
tweeting. Stop tweeting. What is wrong with you? How many times have I told these people, get off Twitter?
Yeah.
It's nice. I live in a nice part of Beverly Hills where, and I go back and forth. I live here too, but I have this lovely, the Kingdom of Saud runs Beverly Hills, and it's a great culture, and all the men smoke, and all the women are very quiet. And you never have to turn around to a Saudi woman and go, keep it down. They're very quiet, and it's nice, and it's really nice. So I like it, and I'm a fan of the regime.
Jesus Christ.
I'm a fan of the regime. I don't know Jamal Khashoggi. Was Jamal Khashoggi helping me or no? It's just a really nice, beautiful. Beverly Hills is gorgeous, and they don't tolerate shit. And a lot of it's because it's mainly like Persian Jews and Saudis. It's really what it is.
And a lot of those live golf posters. Everywhere.
Yeah, live golf. Everyone's like, yeah, we're living, and we're gonna be golfing. Live golf. Fuck the PGA. Big fan of live golf. Big fan.
Selling Trump.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Big fan. But
the
no, I
money.
mean, it's a reality. It's an uncomfortable reality, but the reality is that Beverly Hills looks a hell of a lot better than the rest of LA.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
And you can't really turn the rest of LA into Beverly Hills.
No.
There's
But
not,
you could,
not much you could do.
No, but a lot of that is because the residents of Beverly Hills will not tolerate
Yeah.
what's going on elsewhere. And those residents are not white Americans. That's why the racists are wrong. The racists are like, it's white people, white people, white people. They fucking destroyed Seattle. They destroyed Portland. White people do a lot of fucked up shit. Saudis do not.
And they do it under the guise of white guilt, too.
That's right. They do it under the guise of virtue signaling and white. Saudis did one bad thing, 9/11. And it's bad, but mulligan, move on. Let's not fixate on it forever. It was a not nice thing, but there's some really cool movies about it. And a couple of my friends who sadly lost their parents got some nice money. So let's just move on. It's not a big deal. The new Freedom Tower is gorgeous. They didn't do it again. And they probably did it with help from our government. So, hey.
You think?
Yeah. I mean, there's no way in hell we're being told the truth about that day. We're not being told the truth. I don't know what the truth is, but we are not being told the truth.
But isn't that one of those things where after a horrific disaster, people look for threads of conspiracy?
Yeah, and they're right, too.
You think?
Yeah, that would be correct. That'd be the correct impulse. Well, because they don't happen all the time. So if they happened all the time, you'd go, oh, this is just, after a rainstorm, you got to be really crazy to go, well, it's the government controlling the fucking weather. But when a president is whacked and they're not whacked all the time, and they're whacked in fucking Dallas, Texas, and they're whacked by a guy who ends up getting whacked, that makes you go, oh, that's interesting.
And a guy who travels back and forth freely from the
Yeah.
Soviet Union.
When all of American air defenses are outsmarted by a ragtag group of guys who couldn't pass a fucking flight test, does that make you give it a second look? When a plane going into the Pentagon, there's not one video of that plane going into the Pentagon that's ever been released when there's 90 cameras on the fucking Pentagon. It's not one. except one little weird thing where you go, look at that ball of light explode.
What
It's
do you
just,
think? You don't think that was a plane that hit the Pentagon?
I have no idea what it was. There's 90 cameras on the Pentagon. Release one. Release one.
That one video doesn't look like a plane to you?
No.
What does it
Show
look like?
it, Jamie. Can you show it?
What does it look like?
Get it up, Jamie. It's an old school podcast.
What does it look like?
It's just a ball of light. It's weird. Doesn't seem like a plane. Aren't there other cameras that would show the plane?
So here it is.
Here's the plane.
Here we go.
Let's play it again.
Here we go.
It's
It's
does
just
that look
instantaneous.
to me? It's
Let me
like
see it again. From the very beginning, you don't see it at all.
it's weird that that's the only video of this thing.
Is this?
That's the only frame you can see something else before.
9/11. There's a million.
That
different
looks like a plane.
You can't tell what kind of plane. You don't know how big it is. All you see is white.
Let me see that again.
And listen,
That looks like a fucking plane to me.
they analyze this actually brilliantly in a documentary called 9/11: The New Pearl Harbor, and they actually talk about this exact video that was released and the frame rate and everything like that. But it is impossible to know if that thing that you're seeing,
But look how big it is. It looks like a plane.
all you're seeing is a streak of white.
Right.
Yeah,
but
that's all
look,
you can see.
But look at that right there. Tell me that doesn't look like a plane.
I have no idea what the hell that is.
But doesn't it look like a plane?
I have no idea what kind of plane, how big it is.
If I said to you, do you think that is a house?
I wouldn't say it's a house.
It's not a flying house.
It's not a flying house.
It's the shape of a plane, right?
That-
It's more likely a
it is-
plane than
it
a
is-
house.
It is a shape like a plane, which has the same shape as a missile, which has the same shape as a lot of things. It is cylindrical and white.
Yeah, but is that the same shape as a missile? It's like it's way bigger than a missile.
Oh, for sure.
Look how big that is. That's as big as a plane.
Are you telling me why is there only one video of this when the Pentagon is one of the most surveilled places on Earth?
Play it again?
This looks like it's from a parking thing,
Right.
right? Like you
There's
pull up
no
and say, "I'm
other.
here."
There's no other videos of this thing. The FBI confiscated like 80 or 90 of those videos.
It looks like it hit the ground as it's hitting the building. Do it one more time. That looks like a plane to me, man.
Does that look like a 757?
Is that what it was supposed to be?
Yeah, massive 757.
But it's our perspective, though. It easily could be a 757. If you look at the perspective, that's a big ass building, and look
If
how
you look
small
at-
that plane is.
Yeah,
But it's small compared to the building. But if you had a plane out there with its wings, you would think, yeah, that's about the size of the plane in relationship to that massive building.
okay. And there should be some. I would just imagine there'd be other angles.
Right,
of this.
but a lack of proof is not proof.
a lack of proof can be a question.
Yeah,
And there
I
should
guess
be-
you could have a question, but
Well,
that
one of my questions would be, why is there one angle of this available? Do you know how many angles there are of the planes going into the Twin Towers? Is a few?
right, but that's a different animal, right? Especially the second plane going into the Twin Towers because they were already observing the first one.
For sure. But there's got to be more cameras around the Pentagon than just this one parking garage. That was my question.
But didn't they find wreckage of a plane on the lawn? There's photographs of wreckage.
There is photographs of weird stuff that is consistent with a plane, but it's also like very hard. They don't have any. I don't believe they don't really have. There's certain things that they found, certain things that they didn't find, and it's weird that there's only one depiction of it in that one thing. Like that's all you'll ever see of the. That's just odd to me. It's not. The Pentagon's not a building that isn't surveilled. In fact, I'm sure that there are other buildings with cameras literally pointing and filming the Pentagon. I mean, the FBI confiscated 80 or 90, I think, security tapes. We've seen one of them. That's just odd to me. That's strange. I'm not saying I know the answer. This is where other people will say, well, you don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. I'm just curious.
The thing about it is it looks like the trajectory that a plane would take if a plane is getting low and a plane is trying to slam into a building versus a missile. A missile would come over the top and drop in.
Depending on how it was programmed, right? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It could fly 50 feet above the ground.
Yeah, and I'm not, and I have no doubt that. Listen, it's very maybe if all the facts were out on the table, I'd go, oh yeah, everything they told us was true. But we already know that they lied about the Saudi thing. We knew that. They literally withheld, pages out of the 9/11 Commission report. The people that had the 9/11 Commission report were like, it's set up to fail. The two people that ran it, Lee Hamilton, and like these are people that were literally like, yeah, we don't have all the info. The president and the vice president appeared together to testify. Incredibly weird. There's just weird things. That's all. I don't know what happened. It's just weird. It's weird that the president and the VP had to sit there next to each other.
Why is that weird?
Why would, when you're trying to get to the bottom of something and try to figure out why it shouldn't happen again, and you're trying to treat every person's account as their own personal account of the day, why would two officials have to sit next to each other? It's very strange. Everybody else was interviewed individually.
I bet that was Dick Cheney's idea.
It probably was.
It's probably like, I got this.
Yeah, it's probably like, sit down and but then what does that tell you? I mean, these are weird things. These are odd. I'm just saying they're odd. I don't know what happened. I'll never know. I'll go to my grave not knowing what happened, like everyone else. But, maybe it happened exactly the way they said. Exactly. Where people 30,000 feet up were calling people with cell phones that didn't work, that don't work now 1,000 feet up.
Isn't it odd that, I don't know what Trump did and what kind of
well, he just said we never got
to
the bottom of 9/11.
Yeah.
Did
he just say it?
That's Donald Trump just said that, yes.
When did he say it?
They said, well, Live Golf, what about the Saudis, 9/11? He goes, we don't know what the hell happened on 9/11. That's a quote. Jamie can get up. Trump literally was asked about Live Golf, asked about the Saudis, and Trump goes, yeah, we don't know what happened. That's Trump. It's the president. He probably stole the fucking 9/11 documents, and he's got them in fucking Mar-a-Lago, and he's going to tell everyone the truth at the Labor Day fucking Mar-a-Lago barbecue. And now the feds are trying to fuck him.
What I was going to say is, isn't it crazy that they're breaking into his place and making this gigantic deal about it? And maybe they deserve to. Maybe it's righteous. But yet no one's clamoring to release Ghislaine Maxwell's list of clients.
No one wants that. The FBI is a criminal organization. It doesn't mean that the Trump organization isn't a criminal organization. That is too. But these are criminal organizations. The feds, the CIA, all of them. They're fucking criminals. Their job is to break the law. Their job is to wire to do it. Yeah, here we go.
What does he say? Give me it from the beginning.
People for a long
Give me it from the beginning.
decision to host this event. Well, I've known these people for a long time in Saudi Arabia, and they've been friends of mine for a long time. They've invested in many American companies. They own big percentages of many, many American companies. And frankly, what they're doing for golf is so great. What they're doing for the players is so great. The salaries are going to go way up. The PGA was not loved by a lot of the players, as you know, for a long time. Now they have an alternative, and nobody would have ever known there was going to be a gold rush like this. I think nobody ever knew that they were going to be paying signing bonuses. The prize money was going to be much higher, 4, 5, 6 times higher. So instead of $1 million, you'd win 5 or 7 or 8. A lot of money, and it's even going up. So, but the PGA Tour hasn't reacted well.
You're so closely associated with the city of New York.
Yeah.
You, of all people, understand the passion surrounding 9/11. What do you say to those family members who protested earlier this week and will be doing so again on Friday?
Well, nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11, unfortunately, and they should have, as to the maniacs that did that horrible thing to our city, to our country, to the world.
He's right
so
about
nobody's
that.
really been
He's right
there,
again,
but I
by
can
the way.
tell you that there are a lot of really great people that are out here today, and we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to celebrate, and money's going to charity. A lot of money's going to charity. And you have really the best players in the world, many of the best players in the world, and soon you'll probably have all of them, because remember this, if there's a merger, the people that didn't come, they will never get anything except a thank you from people that took advantage of them.
So this is why our society is so fucking insane right now. The truly wokest points are being made on a golf course by a billionaire. That's why our society has gone fucking, because he's going, we've not gotten to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
By the way, that's literally what every fucking far left anti-war protester was saying for my entire childhood. What that guy just said on a fucking golf course. We have not gotten to the bottom of any of this shit. We're in 7 wars. We're enriching people. And he is making that point. And it's amazing. A billionaire on a golf course is going, yeah, we don't know what the fuck happened. We're in all these wars. Like, that's why our society has gone so fucking insane that he is the wokest person on that issue. Truly. He is. That's what a fucking lunatic, like somebody that society viewed as a lunatic would say. In 2003, 2004, I mean, he's the president. We're 2022, but now a lot of people are more open to it. They're going, yeah, man, here's the reality. We just don't trust anybody on anything anymore. And the government's going to have to earn that trust back. The FBI is going to have to earn that trust back. The FBI had a 2-year, very politicized investigation saying this guy was a Russian asset. They came up with nothing. Okay? Trump's got all kinds of problems. He's done a lot of shady business deals. But they didn't go at him for that. They said he was an agent of Putin and that he was installed and that Putin was doing all these things. They were unable to prove that. And in fact, a lot of the evidence they used that was kind of cooked up in its own weird way with the Steele dossier and the Clinton and all those people. Not to say Trump's not dirty. I'm sure he's fucking dirty. He's a real estate billionaire in New York. What are you, nuts? Of course he is. But the FBI is going to have to earn that trust back. I mean, this is an organization that made their bones with COINTELPRO. They made their assassinating civil rights leaders and setting up people, protecting pedophile politicians, fucking, doing all this crazy stuff, right? I mean, they can't just, we're supposed to just say the FBI is great? No, that's crazy. It's absurd to me. And to others. Doesn't mean Trump's wrong, but if he took like a Bill of Rights on the way out, who gives a fuck? The Bill of Rights. Yeah, he grabbed a Bill of Rights or something on the way out. Listen, the guy knows value. He knows money. He didn't make a lot of money. He had to cut some side deals while he was in there. He didn't make a lot of money. We don't pay the president a lot because it's really not an important job.
Well, he didn't take a salary.
Right, because the salary's fake. What is it, $500,000 a year? It's embarrassing. That shows you how much the job is not really important. So he wanted to take some parting gift on the way out. So what? He grabbed the fucking Articles of Confederation, or who cares? He grabbed something good. I hope he got something good. I hope he's got something real good. I hope he's got a couple of fucking letters from John Adams, some of the UFO shit. I hope he's got some Kennedy stuff. I hope he's got a whole file.
Well, he said
he's got something
UFO
good.
Shit.
If they're freaking out like this, he's got something good.
You think so?
I hope.
I think they're just trying to get him.
They might be.
Well, I think what he did was against the law. And if it is against the law, somebody made a point, like if that room is locked and in a safe and secured by Secret Service agents, isn't that a secure place for those documents? The problem is it's not the correct.
Yeah, they asked him to, and I think they had a video that showed those documents going in and out of that room after they told them to lock it up, and they said they did.
Oh, so he told him to lock it up.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what he did. And maybe
what do you
he
mean
did
they
something,
told him to lock it up? What do you mean by that? Like, how'd they say it?
What I was reading was that they probably told them where it was going to be held, and they're like, okay, if you hold him there, make sure you follow these steps. And they're like, okay, we'll follow those steps. And so then they got a video I read that showed, which I'm reading this stuff, so I don't know exactly.
Maybe he did something really egregious.
Hold on.
Yeah.
What was the video?
Apparently the video showed the documents leaving that room for a period of time before they were then put back in that room.
So he had an understanding with them that he's allowed to possess them as long as they're in a secure location?
I had read that they had been there to look for documents back in January.
Can you see if you can find that article so we can get the specifics of that?
Sure.
He might have done something egregious.
We
don't
the
know.
kind of guy he is.
He's the kind of guy he is. We don't know. But I also know this. After Bush got out, there was this idea that he was going to be prosecuted for war crimes. And, that was a justifiable prosecution. But people said, it would tear the country apart, leave it alone. I don't know. If this is egregious, then it's one thing. But if it's not, then let it,
Who was saying that they should prosecute him for war crimes, though? Was that like
the far left and people on the left were going, yeah. They were going, he, flouted the Geneva Convention. There's no argument that what Bush did was tantamount to war crimes. We shipped detainees to countries where we knew they were going to get tortured. We tortured them ourselves. You could have absolutely tried him for war crimes in The Hague. Absolutely.
Did you see that interview with Roger Waters?
No.
On CNN? You got to watch this.
Okay.
You got to watch this because Roger Waters throws it all in his face.
Yeah.
Because he's talking about war criminals and he shows a photo of Biden.
Right.
And they're like, why are you showing like your last thing was all anti-Trump, and his last show,
Right.
he did, like Trump, like with a pig's body, like there was a bunch of like wild anti-Trump shit.
Yeah.
And in this, he talks about war criminals, and he shows photos of war criminals, and one of them is a Biden.
Yeah,
And
sure.
so CNN was pushing back against it, but Roger Waters, pull that video up because it's fucking wild.
Yeah, Biden supported all that stuff too.
Roger Waters is very well versed politically.
in
He
everything.
really understands like what's going, and it's interesting to watch him being. I forget who the journalist was, but here, let's play the video because it's pretty interesting. Here it goes. Yeah, this is it. This is it. Go
7
ahead.
minutes long.
Go ahead. Give me some volume.
Politics, he's amping them up to 11. Last time out, he preached against Donald Trump and in favor of Palestine. This tour, twice delayed by COVID and ominously titled "This Is Not a Drill," includes references to police murdering black men, semi-automatic weapons and abortion, and giant video screens in the shape of a cross. Waters guitarist Jonathan Wilson has explained why Waters' tour differs from those of fellow older classic rockers. Quote, even the Stones or members of the Beatles, it's more of a trip down memory lane than it is a current show. The activism, that's sort of the key to the whole thing. As a longtime fan of Waters' music who doesn't always agree with his messaging, I wanted to ask him about his mix of performing and preaching. Things got a bit animated. So here's the quote, as I understand, that begins the show.
If you're one of those, I love Pink Floyd, but I can't stand Roger's politics, people, you might do well to off to the bar.
You might do well to F off to the bar right now. At the outset of the show?
Yeah.
Because
it's a really good way to start the show. Apart from anything else, it sets a few things straight.
Namely?
Also it encourages a lot of the people who have come to the show, because they have listened to everything I've written since, 1965 or whenever I started writing songs. So they do know what my politics are, and they do understand where my heart is. And they understand sort of why I'm there. But maybe it also gives a message to people who don't want to be there, in which case them effing off to the bar is probably not a bad idea. Except that you never know, those people, if they sit in a community like my audience is on these shows of This Is Not a Drill on this tour, there is such a great feeling of communication in that room between me and the audience, and between us combined with all our brothers and sisters all over the rest of the world, irrespective of who they are, where they live, their ethnicity, their religion, their nationality, or anything else. Because if This Is Not a Drill has a message, it is that we have to communicate one with the other.
To the guy who says, shut the F up, play the hits, do you want him, as long as he doesn't shout it out, do you want him in the arena?
I don't not want him there, so long as he doesn't annoy the people who do understand what's going on in the arena. I'm happy for him to
But I'm saying, like, do I have to buy in? Does a person in the crowd have to buy in to the message? I've always loved the music.
Right.
Some of the messages I can buy into and some I can't.
I've only got one message. Two strangers passing in the street, by chance two passing glances meet, and I am you, and what I see is me. That is my message. And that was on Medal, which was in 1970. And basically, my message hasn't changed. I recognize your humanity, but I recognize all the Russians and the Chinese and the Ukrainians and the Yemenis and the Palestinians.
Are you an equal opportunity offender on this tour? Here's why I ask. I remember the last tour. Of course, I came and watched. Very much, about Trump. And in the current show, you've got a montage of war criminals, according to you, and a picture apparently of President Biden on the screen, and it says, just getting started. What's that all about?
President Joe Biden?
Yeah.
Well, he's fueling the fire in the Ukraine for a start. That is a huge crime. Why won't the United States of America encourage Zelensky, the president, to negotiate, obviating the need for this horrific, horrendous war that's killing.
You're blaming.
We don't know how many Ukrainians.
But you're blaming the party
Russians.
that got invaded. Come on, you've got it reversed.
That's you know, any war. When did it start? What you need to do is look at the history, and you can say, well, it started on this day. You could say it started in 2008. Okay, it's basic. This war is basically about the action and reaction of NATO pushing right up to the Russian border, which they promised they wouldn't do when Gorbachev negotiated the withdrawal of the USSR from the whole of Eastern Europe.
When you say this, then I have to say, what about our role as liberators? You of all people,
you have no role as liberators.
World War II. World War II. You
got into World War II because
Come on.
Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor. You were completely isolationist until that sad, that devastating,
I would argue we were always
in,
going to get in, and that pushed us in. But thank God the United States got in. Right? You lost your father in World War II. Thank God the United States.
Thank God the Russians had already won the bloody war almost by then. Don't forget, 23 million Russians died protecting you and me from the Nazi menace.
Hey, and you would think the Russians would have learned their lesson from war and wouldn't have invaded Ukraine.
Well, you with all your reading, I would suggest to you, Michael, that you go away and read a bit more and then try and figure out what the United States would do if the Chinese were putting nuclear-armed missiles into Mexico and Canada.
The Chinese are too busy encircling Taiwan as we speak. Okay?
They're not encircling Taiwan. Taiwan is part of China. And that's been absolutely accepted by the whole of the international community since 1948. And if you don't know that, you're not reading enough. Go and read about it.
Okay. Did we solve anything here today?
Yeah, we did. Well, I mean, no, we didn't. Because you're believing your propaganda, your side's propaganda.
You're defining it as
Taiwan,
propaganda.
you can't have a conversation about human rights, and you can't have a conversation about Taiwan without actually doing the reading.
Roger, if you're having a conversation about human rights, at the top of the list of offenders are the Chinese. Why is it always the Western world?
At the top of your list.
Why is it always
the Chinese
the Western world?
didn't invade Iraq and kill 1 million people in 2003. In fact, as far as I can recall, hang on a minute, who have the Chinese invaded and murdered, slaughtered?
Their own.
Bollocks.
Okay.
That's absolute nonsense. Complete nonsense. You should go away and read, but read some proper
Hey, my
literature.
problem is I spend too much time reading your liner notes, okay? Thank you for doing this.
Thank
I appreciate
you for
it.
talking to me.
All right.
It's always a
I just don't
pleasure.
understand why he'd be laughing. Like why he's laughing like a Kamala Harris laugh. It's like one of those.
Michael Smerconish is not the brightest bulb, right? I mean, CNN does not hire smart people. So he's not, and Roger Waters is right about a lot of that. There's things, obviously, that there's blind spots there. I mean, China's certainly not nice to all of their people. But, we've gotten to a point, we've lost our moral authority. America's lost. It's still the best country to live if you are an ambitious, relatively healthy person. And it's still heads and shoulders above a lot of places, but it's no longer, it does not have the moral authority that it once did. And when it wades into these things like Russia, Ukraine, or China, there's a lot more baggage that we have now as a country than we did. And that Iraq and Afghanistan and the legitimization of torture and all of these things, we are not looked at as this moral paragon. We're just not. So Roger Waters is 100% right about all that stuff.
But that's wild that they aired that too. Because
that's wild,
I mean, he schooled that guy.
That's right.
I mean, the real point was China invading other countries. Like, they've never done it. This is not something they do.
Yeah. No, we have been for a very long time pushing this narrative that we are liberators and that we are there to help. And I think the last round of conflicts that we engaged in, the last round of wars, Afghanistan and Iraq, one, we left completely disgraced, Afghanistan, and Iraq, it seems, I don't know what the hell's going on there now, but it doesn't seem to be worth it. If people look back at it, they go, yeah, that wasn't worth it. A lot of people died. Soldiers from our country died. 1 million people or hundreds of thousands of people in Iraq died. You know, and yes, Saddam Hussein was a bad guy, but did it make us safer from terrorism to overthrow Saddam Hussein? Seems to have done potentially the opposite, you know? Terrorists were kicked out of Iraq. I mean, Saddam Hussein was not, you know, fostering people in that country that would be a threat to him or challenge his power. So, you know, it's tough. It's tough because obviously we don't want to turn the world over to China and Russia and things like that. But, you know, we don't really have the authority we used to have.
We definitely don't have this moral high ground that the CNN guys claiming we have, or this consensus that we're the liberators of the world. There's a large swath of the population that doesn't want that. They want peace through negotiation and not peace through military intervention. That's Tulsi Gabbard's position.
That's right. And she's demonized for it like no one, like no other. I mean, it's really, they attack her. When you go abroad, you know, people's feeling in America now, they're just kind of over us. They just don't care. They don't hate us anymore. They're just over it. Like, yeah, you're America.
We're goofy.
We get it. You know, they're like, yeah, try to make a, you know, but we haven't made a good, funny movie in a minute. We haven't done like.
The only funny is comedy right now, stand-up. Stand-up,
podcasts and shit like that.
There's some mild comedies.
There's some new, young, funny guys.
Oh, there's a lot of great comics.
You
a
know?
lot of great podcasts. The stand-up comedy and podcast it's holding raw, wild comedy down.
Yeah.
Because, like, movies like Superbad, Tropic Thunder, you're not making those now.
No.
Like, Jamie Foxx was just talking about a film that he made in 2016 that got shelved. And in it, Robert Downey Jr. plays a Mexican guy.
Right. See, if we were making funny stuff, you know, I think that would be a way to get the world to love us again. You know, that was always our superpower, was that we could make cool shit and funny stuff and great music, and you know,
they want to make comedy without any criticism.
They want to make comedy without comedy. It's a problem. But I do think that eventually, you know, we've learned how to do everything on our own. We've learned how to do talk shows on our own. You know, our shows, your show, certainly, and my show, a lot of time, you know, they get more viewers than Kimmel. They get more viewers than Fallon, right? This space that we're in has replaced late night television. People can watch it whenever they want. My show comes out late at night. A lot of people watch shows late at night. They have fun. They smoke a joint. They have a drink, whatever. You know, this has replaced that. So eventually, the technology will be there for people to make their own films, like Louis C.K. just did, to fund these things, to distribute them. You know, and I think you'll be living in this decentralized space where a lot of interesting art is going to get made. And, you know, if Hollywood's smart, they're going to start grabbing up this stuff before it's too late.
Well, what's interesting is what you were saying about Netflix not giving you any notes.
Right.
That, to me, seems like they're waking up. And we were talking about their stock price dropping by like 80%. They still have some of the best fucking content that's available.
That's right.
I mean, they have Ozark. They have fucking Stranger Things. They have so many good shows. Every rerun of every great sitcom, all the great stuff is all available there.
Well, they also have, you know, it's a good app. The tech works. They're a tech company. The algorithm, like, they know how, you know, some of these other things with you know, arguably as good or better content, because they're not tech companies. A lot of these apps suck. The experience, like, where is this shit, whatever. Netflix has all the ingredients to be good. The content they make has to just get better.
Well, they're making blockbuster movies now.
They're trying.
The Gray Man is fucking great.
I've not seen it yet.
Yeah, it's fun. I read the book. The book is great. The book is a little bit more crazy because you know, they only have a movie length to do it. Like The Terminalist, they did over what is like 6 episodes or something like that on Amazon, the Jack Carr series, which is also great. And The Terminalist, they followed the book pretty closely, not too much deviation at all. And that goes over like 6 hours. So it's the same thing with The Gray Man. It's the same length book.
Ethan Hawke?
No, Ethan Hawke's not the Gray Man. Ethan Hawke is in that horror movie, the Black Phone. That's what he's in now.
I saw that. That's good.
Fucking great. But is that on Netflix too?
No.
That's a movie, right?
Yeah,
that's
Ryan
out in the
Gosling
movies.
is who you're thinking of.
Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans.
Okay.
Chris Evans is a fucking great bad guy.
Yeah.
He plays this evil character in it.
I gotta watch it.
It's fun.
I gotta watch it.
It's a big budget movie. Like fucking explosions, chaos, and you know, some of the scenes took like $20 million to shoot. Like, it's wild shit.
Yeah.
It's great.
I have no doubt, and I'm excited, hopefully, for a little bit of a detente where people can just go, hey, you know, let's make fun stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to like it. This is the thing. It's like I don't want to stop people from making like some types of metal. That's not my kind of music. But people fucking love it. They love getting in mosh pits. I've seen these concerts. I have friends that love that hardcore music. They jump around. They get fucking crazy on stage. And I'm good friends with John Joseph, who's the lead singer of the Cro-Mags. It's just not my
for you.
It's just not my thing. But people love it. Right? It's like some people love jazz.
Yeah.
I've tried. It's not grabbing me. I'd rather listen. Like if I'm going to listen to old cool shit, I want to listen to like Nina Simone, or I want to listen to something with his lyrics to it. It's just not my thing.
Right.
But maybe if I was a musician, it would be my thing.
Right.
But I don't want to stop people from seeing it. Just like I don't want to stop people from going to a Tarantino movie. Like you don't have to like your kind of comedy.
That's right.
But I do. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I fucking love it, and I'm glad that you're out there. So for me as a fan, I like don't stop what I like.
Let everybody do their own thing. And, that's what's great about this decentralization that we're all seeing everywhere. We're seeing people become smaller, kind of leaner, meaner.
Yeah.
Their organizations are more, nimble. They can react to things, generate content quicker, put it out. People enjoy it. They can build an audience faster. These older companies are cruise ships. They're big. They're cumbersome. It's hard to get them to do things. So I think seeing the independence over the last couple of years, these big companies that have shitloads of money are going to start going to these people and going, yeah, you've got something good here. Let's see if we can, by putting it on our platform, let's see if we can, go into business together. Let's see if there's some type of reciprocal relationship that works. I mean, I don't see why that wouldn't happen. I think that's a natural, inevitable, consequence of people wanting to earn money.
Yeah.
These companies going, you guys have big audiences, come and share those audiences and we'll get you more of an audience. And that seems to make a lot of sense to me.
That would be a more fascinating alternative approach to YouTube. If YouTube had more of an approach of just let what becomes popular.
Right.
Instead of like forcing specific things or demonetizing certain things, where it's freedom of speech and expression.
Right.
You should be allowed to state your opinions on things.
For sure.
And many of the things that people have been demonetized for and penalized for have turned out to actually be true.
That's right.
A lot of them, right? And so we have to be open to the idea that the correct answer to dealing with a problem of who's right is let people talk it out.
Yes.
You got to let people talk it out. And I understand that you're going to have horrible people like Holocaust deniers and fucking Nazis. You're going to have horrible people. But you're also going to have people that push back against horrible people.
That's right.
And the laws that we have in place, like the rules that we all agree on, are like don't threaten people, don't dox people, allow for discourse, allow for people to agree or disagree, even if they say the nuttiest shit. Like Trump was appointed by Jesus, and he will now be president forever when Jesus returns.
But I think what's going to happen is there'll be places where people are going to say that. Like I do think that what's going to happen, YouTube is this big platform, right? But I do think you have other platforms like Rumble and like Odyssey, and they're just never going to be as big as YouTube. But I think Rumble's got 60 million people on there. It's not small.
No, Rumble's really growing. They're growing huge, and so they're signing people too. They're signing people to go over to Rumble, which makes sense.
Yeah, YouTube to me is like a place to put your content. To me, it is not. I mean, I think it's very important. I would love it to be governed differently, but I don't have a say in that.
Listen, YouTube is fantastic.
Right.
Let me tell you, and this is not from the perspective of me doing a podcast that airs on YouTube, just from what I enjoy out of it.
Right.
I can watch, I'm a fan of pool. It just seems like a stupid thing, right?
Yeah,
it's just a stupid game, but I'm fascinated by it, and I've always tried to play well, and I watch old matches. I can watch matches from the 1970s.
Right.
Like these were never available before.
Right.
Before you have this company called AccuStats, and I'd buy them. I had boxes of VHS tapes, like this high of AccuStats boxes, like old Buddy Hall versus Keith McCready in 1988. And I would watch those things because you learn how guys move the balls around the table. Those are impossible to find back then. I used to have to hoard them. But you'd have to get them from this online company. But now you can get them on YouTube instantaneously.
Instantaneously.
Any instructional you want to know on Basically anything. You want to learn archery? John Dudley has a full series of from the beginning of picking up a bow, setting your draw.
Right.
All of it's taught. You can learn from the masters. You can learn how to play guitar.
What about a
piano.
council? What if YouTube was a little more democratic? There was a council. All decisions weren't made in the back room all the time.
The problem is,
Steve will do it. Who's a friend of mine, part of the Nelk thing, the Nelk Boys. His channel was completely deleted because he didn't blur out like a URL of some gambling website. He was, just one of those clerical mistakes.
Did he get it back?
What kind of coffee is that?
Black.
Yeah. Okay.
Black Rifle.
Is it like crazy?
No, it's just awesome.
I don't know if it's one of those.
No, it's really good. Shout out to Evan Hafer, my buddy who owns it, and Matt Best. Shout out, boys. They make dope coffee. It's really good. He's a coffee nut. He started Black Rifle Coffee because he was roasting coffee on the back of his Humvee when he was overseas.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's that much of a coffee nut. He'd bring a roaster with him to war.
Yeah.
It was like there's a thing about like having a nice cup of coffee that sort of sets the mood of the day.
Yeah, so this is the coffee they drank before they carpet bombed the Iraqi families. Yum.
That's what I'm scared of more than anything is drone warfare.
Yeah, drug warfare?
Drone warfare.
Oh, drone, yeah.
I'm scared of that more than anything.
What about the stuff in Baja now? Mexico, California.
That's wild.
What is going on there? Is that cartels? What's
My friend
happening?
Ed Calderon, he's been on the podcast a couple of times.
I've
He's
seen
an
him.
expert in cartels, and he explains the way it works down there.
Yeah.
There's it's a very violent cartel war.
Right.
They're lighting cars on fire to block the exit so you can't get into San Diego. Like they blocked off the highway. Yeah, it's scary shit. They installed a curfew at night, so no one is allowed to be on the street by word of the cartel, and everybody responds to it.
Yeah.
And so the
So
streets.
do we need them to come in to fix LA? Can we just bring the cartel in?
But this is what happens when you have no rules, right? When the people with the power make all the rules.
It sounds like
That's
there's
what
more
you
rules
get.
in downtown LA. We could use a curfew. Let's bring in the cartel.
Dude.
Why not?
That's like the people that say like it was better when the mob ran Vegas. Yeah, unless they killed you.
Yeah. Look at what's going on here.
Yeah, it's wild down there. Yeah, they're lighting buses on fire and shit.
Now, what is this about? What is the general problem?
That's a good question. That I don't have the answer to. We should probably Google this. There's some sort of dispute over territory, I'm assuming. But here's the thing. It's like these people have insane sums of money. They're making insane sums of money. They have incredible resources at their disposal. Like, you don't understand what you're talking about when someone doesn't pay taxes.
Right.
And they're selling cocaine.
Right.
And they're getting it through the United States every day. They're making fucking billions and billions of dollars.
That's crazy.
And a lot of them, are very smart when it comes to business. They understand what they're doing. And they control territory the way businesses control territory. They just do it in a crazy, ruthless way.
So, like, one cartel will have, like, one swath of territory.
And it didn't used to be like that.
Right.
This is all funded by the drug war. All of this. This is like us eating poison and wondering why we're dying.
Right.
Like, this was literally funded by this desire that other people have to control what you can and can't do with your body because of existing laws, not because of like rational, logical thinking about other intelligent human beings and their perspectives and whether or not they can handle this or whether or not this is beneficial to them. No, they just decide sweepingly that they can control you.
That's wild.
It's wild.
It's amazing how the turf wars.
Yeah.
Where it's like one cartel is like, we have the right to provide product to this area.
Yeah.
Like one cartel goes, we have Whitney Cummings' house, And then they get in a fight about who can. It's weird to me.
We funded that.
Yeah.
With laws.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't pass that sweeping.
Why do you think we did that?
For money.
Yeah.
For money. You can control it. They're still selling opiates.
Yeah, there's no reason
they're selling heroin.
Our narco state is on our southern border. It's really there's no reason for that unless we have some hand in it.
It's because we made it illegal. So the only way you can make money selling the stuff that people want, like cocaine, is you got to get it illegally in here.
Right.
But there's a massive business. And they're pretending it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Or you're going to fucking stop it by arresting a few people here and there.
No way.
You know how much money is involved? You see these fucking tunnels these guys dig?
It's crazy.
And they go through They have electricity in them and
it's
shit.
amazing. The
They're
Sinaloa
miles
cartel, they have a
long.
whole city. Like, it's
Bro,
amazing. Yeah.
these people are well funded. They're well funded, and they're funded by our stupid fucking laws.
Do you think it'll ever get to a point where we legalize everything?
The problem is we're so coddled. If everything became legal tomorrow, people would die. For sure. For sure, we would lose folks. It would be a problem.
Right.
They're not innocuous. When you're talking about giving people heroin and giving people cocaine, I think you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want if you were an informed, consenting adult. That's my stance on anything you want to do.
There's so much fentanyl.
But that said, if that shit just becomes legal everywhere and you could just go to 7-Eleven and buy meth, people are going to die.
That's right.
It's going to happen.
That's right.
Because you're going to have more access to it. You'll probably have way more addicts.
Right.
They're going to have to learn how to use this. It's like there's an argument that they make about kids in Europe. Like in Italy, when you're young, you could drink wine. So they let kids drink wine, and they don't become alcoholics as much. It's not even nearly the rate that we have in America. Because they don't make it this horrible forbidden fruit that one day I'm going to get my hand on that carrot
and
then
then
dangle that drink. 21.
Yeah.
It's your first drink,
And
Billy.
the car
Wink,
keys.
wink.
And then here's the car
Yeah.
keys. Here's the booze.
And it's always wink, wink. It's your first
Right.
drink, right?
Right. Wink,
Everybody's had a
yeah.
drink before 21.
Everybody.
Yeah. Nobody fucking waits. It's stupid.
Right.
You just can't go to a bar.
Yeah.
So you make it this forbidden fruit that people can't wait to get to.
Yes.
So it becomes a giant part of their life.
Yeah.
Let's get drunk. We can get drunk. It's the weekend. We can get drunk.
That's right.
Yeah, it's fun to get drunk.
That's
Drink-
right.
It's great. It's a good product.
Yeah.
They figured out something that actually does make things more silly.
Right.
But, I mean, if that was illegal, you would have organized crime. And that's what they fucking had. We know it. That's how the
Right.
mob emerged.
That's right.
That's where they got all their money.
That's right.
They were selling alcohol. The fucking NASCAR drivers.
Such a bad system.
That's what NASCAR is.
Yeah.
NASCAR was, they developed that to, we're moonshiners.
Yeah.
They're trying to get the fuck away from cops.
It's amazing.
They souped up their cars.
That's fucking amazing.
That's the origin of NASCAR.
That's crazy.
It's one of the most American things of all time.
Ever.
NASCAR is one of the most American things of all time.
Just
If
high-powered
you look at the origins.
moonshine vehicles.
Moonshine vehicles. Wild Southern
crazy.
boys just going down dirt roads sideways in a 69 Charger.
Yeah, and that's the fucking genesis of NASCAR.
That's the genesis.
That's crazy.
That's where it started from.
That's amazing. So many people don't know that.
Those crazy motherfuckers were running alcohol,
Yeah.
getting away from cops and
Yeah.
souped up cars.
Well, do you think we'll be like? Do you think federal legalization's coming of marijuana?
I think it should have come when the Biden administration took office.
Right.
That was one of their promises.
Right.
You should do that.
Right.
You should exonerate people that are in jail for selling it too. There's a
Right.
guy that's in jail that I just sent something to. He was in Phoenix. This is one of the craziest fucking stories you'll ever hear. This guy was in Phoenix, and he sold weed to an undercover cop, I think 4 times in small amounts.
That's
and
insane.
4 times, it was a total of, here, I'll send you the link, Jamie. 4 times, it was a total of a little bit over an ounce. So because it was over an ounce, they were allowed to charge him, and they put him in jail for 15 years. Now, in Phoenix, right now, 16 years, excuse me, in Phoenix, and they just denied clemency for this gentleman.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was just selling weed.
Right.
You know, and maybe did bad things in the past. But whatever he did was not worthy of this while there's legal weed right now in Phoenix.
And people are making millions and
Just
billions.
because someone did something in the past they already did their time for, doesn't mean a small thing like selling weed.
And this is a
should
kid.
Lock someone in a fucking cage. I don't know how old he is.
Well, it said a South Phoenix kid got 16 years.
How old is he? Does it say how old this guy is?
21.
21. Jesus fucking
That's
Christ.
crazy.
So 21, you're going to give him 15 years because he sold an undercover cop
This is fucked
weed
up.
4 times.
He was in. It's entrapment. It's fucked. Yeah.
But, well, first of all, yes, he was selling weed. Yes, he was selling weed.
Right.
But who fucking cares? There's so
Right.
many crimes being committed. This is the most mild of crimes. The guy's selling weed. That should not be something you should arrest someone for. Like, don't break the law. Okay, when you have no more robbers,
Right.
and no more murderers,
Yeah.
and no more rapists, and no more fucking carjackers, when all that stuff is complete zero,
Then we'll focus,
Then
yeah.
focus on weed.
It never
this is
was
stupid.
It was never fair to me that so many people lost their entire lives.
No, not
and
fair.
then that should be changed.
It doesn't make any sense. They're still in jail. Like when we're talking about Brittany Griner, yes, it's terrible that they put her in jail for that.
It's crazy.
But it's crazy we have thousands of people in America in jail for the same fucking thing.
Do you
Thousands
think
and
we get
thousands
her
and thousands
out?
of them.
Think we'll get her out? No.
I think they're going to make a negotiation politically. It's the smart thing to do. I think to leave her in jail is a horrible slight.
That's right.
But it also highlights the many Americans that are in jail that they haven't tried to get, that were supposedly tried for maybe false accusations of espionage or whatever, all kinds of wild shit. There's a lot of people in jail in foreign prisons that probably shouldn't be in jail,
right.
and we're all aware of that. And I get that this woman is loved, and I get what happened to her was horrible. It's fucked. It's beyond fucked, right? But we have people in America right now that are locked up, and they basically did the same thing. They just had something on them they weren't supposed to have.
That's right.
Whether they're selling, if you want to get him for tax evasion and say he owes you money because he's been selling $100,000 worth of weed a month for the last 3 years,
sure.
Okay, get him on that. You know, get him on that. If you find some big time drug dealer and he's driving a Lamborghini and doesn't pay taxes, hey, bro.
Right.
You know, give me
some money.
Give me some money, and plus you might have to go to jail.
I hope that we figure out a way to do that. I mean, it should absolutely be a priority of any supposedly progressive group of people to, you know, figure out a way to stop the bleeding there and get these people out of jail, have their lives restored,
and
insanity. Stop people from going into jail for nonviolent drug offenses.
You're also not giving a person a chance to grow. You know, you're putting them in this situation where you stop all of their, this one decision that they make at 21 years old
is defining their entire life.
And it's just to sell weed. How heartless is that?
Yeah.
It's heartless.
It's tough.
It's heartless.
I knew kids that got caught with a lot of stuff and they had the money to get big time lawyers, and then they didn't get those sentences.
Right. And
so it is, you know, it's uneven.
And you know, there's like this, they point to history of crime, that people have a history of doing things. Like, yeah, I'm sure he does. But if he did his time for that, like, you can't just automatically retroactively attach something that's innocuous, like selling weed today, with assault from 10 years ago or whatever it was. You can't do that. You can't do that.
No.
You can't do that, because if he did time for that, then he did time for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, does he have a history of it? Yeah, but it shouldn't attach itself to this new crime.
No.
But I think he was on probation too, which is also part of the problem.
Oh, then fuck him. No, I'm kidding. It's still bad. It's still bad. Yeah, it's still not
I think
good.
the probation alone puts him in jail for 5 years, the probation violation.
So we need a happy medium. You can't have no cops, but you also can't have like a draconian police state. You got to have that. That's where we talk about it. It's that compromise, that rational attitude.
There also has to be some compassion for people.
That's right.
That's not a violent crime. It's not a big deal. There's got to be compassion for people.
Especially, I think, people that are younger and have their entire lives ahead of them. And if they're not violent and they're not killing people or hurting people, and they make a mistake like that, to doom them is crazy.
Listen, man, when I was 21, I was a fucking idiot. I would have sold weed to a cop for sure. 100%.
The only reason I didn't get in trouble was luck. You know, I could have gotten pulled over, intoxicated. I drank, smoked weed. I was doing all kinds of other drugs, and I had them in my car, and I was just lucky enough to never get pulled over when I had the bad stuff in my car. I just have 8 balls of cocaine in the car. It's like, you know, but thank God, none of that. But it's just luck.
Yeah.
It's the luck of the draw. You know,
it's a lot of it's the luck of the draw. A lot of it is, you know.
I know guys that I knew that I used to hang out with that, you know, got popped for DWIs. They got popped for drugs. They did time in jail. Kid
I went to high school with got in a drunk driving accident and killed his friend.
It's crazy.
It was a good kid I knew well.
It's crazy.
I hung out with him all
young
the time.
When they did it when he was young.
Yeah, we were real young. We were in high school.
Fuck.
Yeah.
And he's got to live with that for the rest of his life.
For the rest of his life. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I know a girl,
and he's not a bad guy.
Of course.
He was a good guy. He was a real good guy.
Friend of mine just, used to date a girl. She got 3 DWIs in Chicago, 10 years in jail.
Jesus Christ.
3 on your third strike there. They don't fuck around. Put you in for 10 years.
Yeah, it should be that your car doesn't work.
Right.
You know, but nobody wants to give up to that. You know, nobody wants to give
people like have somebody blowing the thing.
You get in your fucking car and it reads your, like, I have one of them Whoop straps, you know, you put on your wrist, it measures your activity and your workouts and shit like that. Why, you know, it's not the worst idea in the world. Like, if you want to be able to drive a car, you should have an app that says if you're sober. Because if you're really drunk and you think you can handle it, and
it's a problem.
That's a fucking problem.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that make those decisions, and you make one bad decision, and your entire life is now irreversibly changed.
Especially when you're like 21, or this kid, one, my friend in high school was like, I think he was like 17.
Do the wrong thing. I got in a car accident. I was not high, but I got in a car accident when I was young, and my secretary, a secretary at my company was in the car. And, she ended up being okay, but I mean, it was a bad, like, head-on collision.
Oh, Jesus
And it was
Christ.
like, you imagine that, like, listen, so you can get in an accident sober.
Yeah.
Very
easily.
So the reality is you up the ante, you're on drugs, you're drinking. I mean, you can get in a life-changing event fucking sober. So you do something like that, you get in a car. I mean, thank God that the damage wasn't worse. Thank God this woman was fat and she was able to take
a good impact.
A good impact, and it's true. And
cars are really well designed today too.
Well,
the
they're better than they were. They're better than they were.
Oh, they're a lot better than they were. But they're still fucking. It's such a wild agreement that we have that you stay in your lane and I stay in my lane, and we go kind of impossibly fast.
It's the one thing I miss about New York City. There's a lot of things I miss about New York City, but there is such a nice. Someone like you're way too famous for it. But when you don't have to drive. And you can just walk around all day, and you look at your phone, and you're like, I've done fucking 11,000 steps, and I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
And you're like, I walk all day. You go, there's something nice about that as a lifestyle.
It's way better for you, that's for sure.
It's a lifestyle. You go, all right, I don't have to sit in traffic.
Yeah.
I can walk around. There's something nice about not fucking having a car, or having a car that you can use when you want.
Yeah.
But you go, the majority of the time, I'm on foot. And that was my favorite thing I think about New York, was like that pedestrian culture of like you could walk around a lot.
Right.
And you didn't have to necessarily be dependent on a car. Because it is dangerous. I mean, you get on the 405 at night, get on the 101, you see the way these people fucking drive.
There's always that
Even
one
here in
dude.
Austin, like you just anywhere.
There's always
late
that
at
one
night,
dude in a
always
pickup truck. That's just going way too fucking fast.
It's like, and you see, and I'm not the best driver. I'm a pretty good driver, but I'll kill you. You know what I mean? There's people that I'm in Facebook groups about the cutting guy off of Whataburger and all that shit. Like, and I won't even mean to kill you, but I'll kill you, and I won't even mean it. I'll be on my phone, and I'll just kill you and your family. So it's so hard. No, I try. I'm a lot better now. But I've totaled 5 cars. When I was younger, I was really bad. I left the scene of most of those accidents because it's a horrible way to meet someone, to stay there. A few of them I had to stay, but some of them I was just like, later. One woman got out of the car, started screaming, yelling, and I just went, enough. She was fine. I was like, enough. But yeah, you used to get in accidents all the time. All the time.
It's going to be interesting when those autonomous cars start going out.
And they're coming.
Yeah, because right now the self-driving thing, it's very highly criticized. It's not like really there yet in terms of you can just turn your car on and take me to work, and it avoids all the traffic, stops at the red light, lets pedestrians cross in front of you, knows when a car is changing lanes or not changing lanes. It's like it's not perfect yet.
That's right.
And people do things now where they get up beside Teslas, and if they think you're on autopilot, they'll like kind of half swerve into your lane. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, Red Band was telling me about it. I think someone did it to him, and realized like, oh my God, the car just reacts because he will, if he's on the highway, he would just put it on the autopilot, which is good for the highway, like doot doot, and it just stays in the lanes.
Is Tesla your favorite car of your cars?
It's the most impressive.
Right.
Yeah, I love cars just because I love cars that aren't even that fast. I have like an old Porsche. It's a 1993 Porsche. But it's fucking great.
But the Tesla's the really impressive car.
Oh, it's way more impressive than anything else that I've ever driven by a long shot.
Yeah.
The 0 to 60 is 1.9 seconds.
Crazy.
It doesn't make any sense. It's completely silent inside. It's very nice. It's very smooth. It's like great over bumps and shit. It handles great for which is essentially a 4-door sedan. It has a great center of gravity because all the batteries are down low. It's just a marvel.
Yeah.
It's a marvel.
Yeah.
Like when I drove it today, I was like, Jesus Christ, this thing is like a marvel.
Right.
It just it just goes.
Yeah, interesting.
There's no gears. It's just one gear.
Right.
Which seems so superior once you get used to it. You're like, oh my God. When you're used to
Yeah.
like the acceleration of an electric car, it's instantaneous. It just goes zoop, and it goes to where you want to go.
It just goes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's got a lot of nanny things in it. It recognizes things that aren't really a
I
problem.
hate that.
Like if you're turning
Yeah.
like down a road and there's
Yeah.
a tree in front of you, it'll like a little alarm will go off. I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna hit the tree.
What I like
I'm
about my
turning.
car, the Bentley, is that it doesn't care. So nothing's automatic. You have to put the lights on. Everything, because they're like, maybe you just killed a hooker and you're driving out of there's no lane sensor. You could go in another lane. You don't have
Really?
to signal. Yeah, it doesn't care.
Wow.
It's a British gentleman's car, and a British gentleman can do what he wants. A Bentley is a car made for a British gentleman.
How quiet is it in there?
It's quiet and it's heavy.
Heavy.
It's heavy and it's quiet, and it's it's a beast. The Flying Spur is a beast, a big sedan, and it's
Does it feel smooth when you're driving?
oh, it's the best. There's nothing like it. There's no
Really?
driving experience like it.
In what way?
It's just a smooth. You float. Yeah, it's great. The Teslas are nice, but they're gay, and it's what it is. They're like not a lot of money. Anyone can kind of drive them. Teachers drive them. It's gross. But the Bentley, it's just kind of an old school British gentleman. It's a British gentleman's car, It's James Bond.
So I have cars that I drive, like the Tesla.
Yeah.
Is a car.
Yeah.
But then what I really love is muscle cars.
Yeah,
And
you
those,
love that.
Those are not like
Luxurious.
no,
They're tough.
Well, they're just
and fast.
fun.
They're fun.
They're fun, and they're not practical at all.
And what's your
Like, you can't
favorite
just park them there.
of those?
I don't really have a favorite. I love them all, but I have a 1969 Camaro.
That's cool.
And it's all completely redone by this company called Roadster Shop. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It drives like a modern car. It's amazing.
That's cool
The
as
brakes
fuck.
are amazing. The acceleration's amazing. But the thing about it that's the most amazing is like you're in this thing from 1969, that's been redone and built up like a modern car.
amazing.
And it drives like a modern car.
And you're having that experience of somebody like, you're imagining being in that car in the prime 1969.
Yeah, but it's way better.
It's better. No, you're
'Cause they have much better
experiencing that, but
suspension.
now you
Yeah.
have none of the problems that it would have.
God, those cars are terrible. I've driven one of those
Yeah.
cars recently that didn't have anything new on it. It's terrible. They're worth so much money.
Right.
You can get like an old Barracuda, like a perfect Barracuda, numbers matching. They're going for $1 million.
Right.
$1 million for a car that's terrible to drive.
Yeah. Do you like boats at all?
I do like boats.
Interesting. I've been getting into speedboats, not getting into them, but watching the races on YouTube. It's crazy.
Oh, it's so crazy. They
Some
go
of those
so fast.
Donzi boats, some of those crazy speedboats.
Fuck going fast in the water.
It's scary.
That's a silly way to go flying through the air.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
When you
stupid.
see those cigarette boats?
Oh, dude, they're
They
nuts.
catch wind and they go flying through the air. I'm like,
Yes.
fuck all
Fuck
of that.
shit. Austin has a lot of regular people that live here, like Sandra Bullock and Matthew McConaughey, Elon Musk. All of your friends are regular people. You're a regular working class guy around regular people. You have a very simple life.
Simple
and
needs, bro.
These are simple. That's the thing. It's like that's what I like about Austin. There's a lot of good soul to the earth people here who are like talking about NFTs or these are the people that you would grow up with.
Have they crashed because of all the stock market crash
Well,
stuff?
yeah, I mean they've crashed, man. But
Are they still being bought though?
the people that are into them now seem a little frantic.
Like the jig is up.
The jig's up a little bit. People are not. They're not.
That is a great hustle though, man. They got people to buy pictures.
It was a great hustle
For
and
millions.
It'll come back in another form that makes more sense. It won't be pets.com. It'll come back in a way where it's like, it'll be Amazon where it comes back and you go, oh, I get it now. But at the moment, it's silly. And at the moment, I think people are like, fuck this shit.
But let me say something though. There's levels to it. And the levels to it where it makes sense is people create digital art.
Yes.
And that's like Beeple. What that Beeple guy
Yeah.
does, he's literally putting together a giant gallery. So
Yeah.
he actually has like physical art, right?
Yeah.
And he made that thing too. And then he'll sell that.
Yeah.
You can have an NFT of that. That's like, you
yeah.
get like a whole thing that goes with it. It's a different sort of, you're buying art.
There'll be a way to where 10 years from now, we'll look back and we'll go, oh, that's what it was supposed to be. Like everything else. In the late 90s, there was this crazy rush to the internet. But before there was the infrastructure there, and there were these wild companies. Obviously Pets.com is the one that everyone talks about, but there was, a lot of these companies, including Amazon, lost like 90% of their value, right? And some of them died, and then Amazon came back to be one of the biggest companies in the world, if not the biggest. So I think eventually what happens is years from now, we will see how all this technology is applied, and it'll make a lot more sense then. But as of right now, it's a big mess.
Yeah.
It's a big mess. There's a lot of criminals. There's a lot of opportunists, a lot of fucking desperate people. It's a soup of humanity out there trying to figure out what the applications are.
I wonder if it'll ever get to a point where, televisions and like super high definition televisions are everywhere. And if someone could have a digital piece of art that's so astounding and you could only see it on like a digital television, and so you would get one, it would be like, oh my God, he's got an original Beeple.
I think also,
you can replicate it.
Yes.
But it's like replicating a Frank Frazetta painting.
That's right.
Like I have a print of a Frank Frazetta painting, but it's
Right.
not an actual Frank Frazetta painting.
Right.
That's worth like $1 million or more, probably more.
Right.
But to have like an original digital art might be
Yeah.
like representative to people.
Or to just be in a club, right? Because that's essentially a lot of what that is. It's like an NFT. It gains you admission into some kind of club. And,
and
maybe
it's a
there's
flex.
certain live streams you can get into. Maybe there's certain events you can get into and live events. Like the idea basically is that you have something that has a value to you.
Yeah.
And the people that want it. Just like everything else in the world. Just like art. Just like a Ferrari has a value to a guy that can afford a Ferrari but also wants a Ferrari.
Right.
He's got to want it. And then to him, a Ferrari has more value than anything else in the world. And he'll pay $1 million for it. But to somebody else, maybe that has $1 million, the guy don't fucking want a Ferrari. So it's really that's really what it comes down to. It's like these things will have a lot of value to the people that they're holders, and then other people as well. But then a lot of people go, yeah, fuck that. I don't want that.
Yeah, I could see it being a thing where it could be like someone says, look, I have an original Picasso. I could see it being a thing like that,
for sure.
where it's like images on a screen, like maybe it's a number, right? Maybe the art is based around a number. I've got a number one. Oh my God, is that the number one?
Yes.
And then and if you had a number one in your house, people were like, bitch, you don't have number one.
That's right.
Tim Dillon has number one. It's in the
one.
registry.
Yeah. Or they go, I'm a member of the JRE whatever.
Yeah.
And that entitles me to whatever.
Yeah.
I get something because I'm a member of this club and I want to be in it, and this NFT gives me this preferred status in this thing that I really like and enjoy. There's a way to do that. Some kind of fan club.
I'm thinking Tim Dillon Nation. Dillon Nation.
That won't get shut
NFTs.
down by the feds. They won't.
That should be if you have a right-wing radio show someday.
Yeah.
It's got to be Tim Dillon Nation.
Dillon Nation.
Yeah.
Tim Dillon Nation. I could make a lot of money if I went that route. I just, I think if a few years from now I will. I'll just move to Florida and go completely insane.
Just move to the Keys.
Well, the thing is, when you move to Florida, you got to lose it completely.
Yeah.
And all the friends I have that live there, they're all like, they're all so happy, but they're on the beach screaming about the FBI. So how happy can you be? But when you move to Florida, you just got to let it go. Just got to let it fly.
Yeah, well, Florida has a long history of chaos. A long history of chaos. I mean, from the Cubans coming in to the prisoners being released by Castro.
Oh, yeah.
All the Scarface stuff, the Coke days. My
It's a
good
cool
buddy,
place,
Steve Graham.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He's an ophthalmologist, and he did his residency in Miami in the 80s.
Wow.
So he was working in the hospitals when people were just coming in with gunshot wounds and cocaine everywhere. He said it was wild.
It's got to be insane.
He's got some crazy fucking stories. He was in the heart of all the chaos.
The heart of it.
And he's working in the emergency room.
Yeah. I mean, that state is one of those states where it just has that ethos of crazy is tolerated and encouraged.
Well, they had more banks per capita in Miami than anywhere else.
They were doing money laundering for blow.
Fuck yeah. That city was built on coke.
Yeah, it's a cocaine.
That wild
That's
ass
why
city was
buildings
built
are
on
like
coke.
collapsing and everything.
Have you seen Cocaine Cowboys?
Oh yeah, it's great.
And 2 is just as good. They're fucking phenomenal. But when you realize the history of Miami, you're like, holy shit.
It's a wild city.
Wild.
It's wild.
They had one class, a graduating class at the police academy, where the entire class was either murdered or went to jail.
Right. It's insane.
They were all just selling coke.
Right.
It was wild. Dudes were making millions of dollars and buried it in their backyard.
Yeah,
They didn't know what to do
it was
with
like a no man's land, no laws, and
it was chaos.
chaos.
And that Griselda Blanco.
Griselda Blanco.
Tough
bitch.
Craziest, most evil woman
The
maybe
godmother.
that's ever been documented.
Yeah. And she lived in Miami?
She lived in Miami, and they exported her. They sent her to prison somewhere, and then she eventually got out. But I think she got killed.
Right.
What happened to her? Did she die recently? Do you remember? I think they covered that in Cocaine Cowboys too. I just haven't watched it in a long time.
Yeah.
But that lady was terrifying.
She was no joke. Yeah.
That's so scary.
But she, it's good to have a passion. Like she had something that
she was good at killing
she
folks.
wanted
and
to
selling
do.
coke.
And no one gets to that level that isn't into it.
She was murdered.
She was murdered. Yeah, Jennifer Lopez was slated to play her in a movie. Is that still happening? And everybody's like, "Whoa, she is way too hot." Jennifer Lopez is hot as the sun.
You can't have like Jennifer Lopez do it. That's going to take everyone out of it.
Well, it's also like Griselda Blanco was not. She wasn't the best looking woman.
No.
It wasn't even anything like that.
No, she was a tough bitch. It's a different thing.
It's a different thing. That's crazy.
Completely different.
Yeah.
No, it's a bad idea to have J-Lo.
That's like Ryan Gosling playing Andy Dick.
Not a good move.
It's not. It doesn't fit.
No, but I would like to see that movie just with someone else in it.
Yeah. Some really good actress that no one knows.
Yeah.
That would be the way to go with that.
There's Catherine Zeta-Jones as her.
Oh.
Okay, that's
better,
not
they
the
made
one.
her, maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. But they were titled the same thing. And I don't know if the
she's
J-Lo one ever
she's
got
hot
made.
as fuck too. She's too hot.
This woman looks like Artie Lang.
That's what I'm talking about. See?
Right.
That look at the real Griselda Blanco.
I need to be doing this.
That's the real one.
No, I need to be in this.
We could get Bobby Lee for that part.
I need to be doing that. Hey, papi.
Yeah, no, she's not a good looking woman, which is why it's so crazy to have.
You know what it is? So funny. It's like that is the thing with Hollywood again with movies. Nobody's gonna watch it if she's gross.
That's true.
That's the thing that Hollywood will say. They're like, we need a hot murderer because no one will. It's very interesting. They'll be like, yeah, no one will watch it unless there's some eye candy. It's somebody good looking.
It would have to be an independent film, right?
That's right.
Are there big female movie stars that are not attractive at all?
Yeah,
Melissa
for sure.
McCarthy?
Yeah.
You get like some big women. You get a few big women.
But it's rare that they like.
What about when they made this? They had to make Charlize
They had to
Theron.
make.
Well,
her, yeah.
Charlize Theron did it to herself. That woman's
Yeah.
a beast. That was directed by my friend Patty Jenkins.
That's one of the best movies.
It's a fucking phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
And Charlize Theron killed it, dude. She killed it.
Right.
That lady, she even looked like her, man. It's like she
did a great job.
assumed her mannerisms. I mean, it's a phenomenal performance. I mean, you think about what she did to her body.
Right.
To be like a top of the food chain gorgeous woman.
Right.
And eat yourself into this horrible place. And then look at what she looked like when she won the Academy Award for it. I mean, that is fucking wild. And then she gets herself back into shape. That's incredible. I mean, people don't know how fucking hard that is to do. And to do that for a movie and to nail like one of the only documented female serial killers. Woo!
She killed it.
She killed it. She killed it.
She killed it.
You got to be a special kind of crazy.
J-Lo should gain fucking 100 pounds to become Griselda Blanco.
Well, she's never going to do that.
Articles from 2020, so I don't know if
Yeah.
that stuff.
She will take on Colombian droid Griselda Blanco in the upcoming film. No way, man. Look how hot she is. Get out of here. That's crazy. That's crazy. That doesn't make sense. Historically, that's not accurate. It's like having a Chinese guy play Castro.
That's right.
There's no reason for this.
Right.
Why are you doing this?
Right.
Those are
It's
two
insane.
very different things.
Yeah.
What she is smoking hot fucking dime.
Yeah, you can't have that
You can't have that.
as Griselda Blanco.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe she'll kill it. Maybe it'll be great. But
Who knows?
It's not the same story.
It's Hollywood. They'll figure it out.
Part of the story was there was a guy who, when you see there's this one dude who's got his arm around her. That was her boyfriend. And she had found out that he was fucking around on her. That was like part of the story. I
And
forget
what did she do to
forget
him?
what she did, but she found out he was fucking around on him. I'm sure it wasn't good. I don't remember what she did to him.
Yeah.
I don't remember if she took him back or killed the girls.
Yeah.
I don't remember what she did, but she's a scary lady.
I got to rewatch that, the Cocaine Cowboy stuff.
It's always good to rewatch that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Billy Corgan killed it. She supposedly killed her 3 husbands. Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, bro. She killed 3 of her husbands.
Black Widow.
That lady's so evil. You can't just have... I mean, she was killing them.
Who killed her?
I don't know.
Some rival.
Recently, right?
No, it was 2012.
Oh, it was?
Not unrecent, but...
Yeah, I guess. Isn't that wild? That was 10 years ago. How's that real? 2012 was 10 years ago. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's hard to wrap your head around. I know it's like it makes sense on paper, but what the fuck?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting that she rose to the top and just stayed there.
Dude, she was ruthless.
Yeah.
Man. She was fucking ruthless.
Vicious.
When you talk to the hitmen that were told to carry out certain crimes and what she told them to do, she was bisexual, said to have orgies with strippers, and later have them executed for her own amusement. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Imagine making some girl eat your pussy and then shooting her in the head.
No, then the next...
Jesus Christ.
Or a guy.
She forced men to have sex with her by gunpoint. She started using her own products. She became crazier and crazier. She reportedly gained a lot of weight and started making men and women have sex with her at gunpoint.
Well, why? Yeah, it's like, why?
How are you gonna have?
Yeah.
How am I gonna believe that with J-Lo?
Yeah, you
I'm
cannot
not gonna believe that.
it with J-Lo.
I am not gonna believe that J-Lo is having to force a man at gunpoint to have sex with her.
That makes no sense.
That makes zero sense. Or a woman even.
No, it's crazy.
It doesn't make any sense.
It makes zero sense.
She's too hot.
That's a crazy. I didn't realize she was getting that nuts.
Yeah, that is amazing. What an amazing quote.
How long did she live?
How come there's no like cry from the women who look like Griselda Blanco,
right,
or angry?
Yeah, no,
super hot.
Certain people like her get away with it.
Supposedly worth $2 billion when she died.
Holy shit!
I wonder who gets
she
that
was
money.
worth $2 billion when she died. Holy shit, dude!
Fuck.
How old was she when she died?
I'm wondering who gets that money, if anybody.
How old do you think she was when she died?
70? 68?
Yeah.
Yep.
What?
69.
69.
Yeah.
Hell of a run.
Hell of a run.
Hell of a run.
Hell of a run.
$2 billion in the bank.
What else do you want?
Lots of X's on your gun.
Couple of dead strippers in the driveway?
Jesus Christ.
You know?
All the
fucking
evil
people at
people.
gunpoint?
I mean, that's an incredible run for an evil person.
Oh, of course.
It's incredible.
She did it.
I mean, she made it to the finish line, basically.
She did it big.
And she went out the way she's
kind of
supposed to go.
Hero in a weird way of thinking about it.
What way is that?
The way that how many women occupied that position, right?
Right.
Women of color, fat women, big. This is huge. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
She certainly, when it comes to evil people that have killed a lot of folks and got away with it, she fucking did it right.
She did it right.
If you want to talk about it that way.
Ruthless.
Yeah. It's crazy that someone can do that. That they could rise that far.
How she got into jail, too, is a little interesting. I don't know all the details on this. I'm just trying to uncover, but...
But Blanca caught a lucky break. She was only convicted on 3 counts of murder. The DEA suspected that she was involved in over 40. But the Miami-Dade District Attorney's Office became embroiled in a scandal involving 3 secretaries in the office and one of Blanco's top lieutenants. So instead of handing her a death sentence, the prosecutor handed in his resignation, and Blanco cut a deal to serve 3 concurrent 20-year sentences. After serving her sentence, she was deported back to Colombia in 2004, where she spent the rest of her days.
She only did like 6 years. Wow. It was in like 98 when she was going in, and then they said she was out by 2004, last seen in 2007, and killed in 2012.
So it's interesting here. It's some kind of poetic justice that she met an end that she delivered to so many others, said Bruce Bagley, a professor. She died by the motorcycle drive-by killing.
Wow.
Interesting.
But a person like that, when they finally do get it, it's probably like a relief.
Oh yeah. Well,
You know?
what else
I mean,
is she
had
gonna
to
do?
know, but she had to know it was coming.
She knew it was coming.
She killed so many fucking people. She must have had so many.
The last
enemies.
thought in her head was like, "Oh, that thing that I did.
I invented that.
I invented that."
Oh, it's
the chickens come home to roost.
Great strategy.
Yeah.
This is the, that's the history of that part of this country, and that was entirely funded by the drug war.
Right.
The same thing we're talking about.
Right.
The reason why there's so much money for criminals is because drugs are illegal.
That's right.
I don't know what the solution though is. Like I said before, like honestly, I don't know if like legalization would be a giant disaster, and I assume that it would be. I assume if they just unregulated
everything, it's a problem.
It's a problem,
right?
And like if you could just sell it anywhere, if we don't, I mean, what does that look like? Yeah. Does that look like drugstores? Does it look like prescription? Does that look like you could just buy it at 7-Eleven? What does that look like? Because you can go to
It looks like,
doesn't 7-Eleven sell booze?
Yes, but I think what it would look like is approved vendors in certain areas, just like liquor stores and other things would have to have some type of distance from school or whatever. But yeah, to your point, I think it is chaotic, and the potential for a real problem is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think,
there's a lot of people that don't even support the idea that the government should control alcohol.
Right.
They're like, why are you controlling this? Like, why do you have any say in this at all? Like, you just, as long as we're not selling something that's a fraud, like why are there so many hoops that someone has to jump through to sell alcohol?
Right.
Like, why do I have to get your approval?
Right.
Isn't it legal? If it's legal, why can't everybody sell alcohol? Why can't you just open up Dillon's beer and just start selling beer?
Yeah.
Why do I need to go through a bunch of hoops and shit? Like, do you want to make sure that I'm doing it right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Or is it just want a piece of the pie?
They want a piece of the action.
They want a piece of the pie.
That's
Come
right.
on, Dillon,
Yeah.
you want to do fucking
But
business in this town?
That's also part of why, why things are the way they are. It's just like, life is too short in many cases. You're not. There's so much of this that just it's not changing in our run.
What do you think about the government installing 87,000 new IRS agents?
Oh, well, I mean, what are you gonna do? You got to pay your taxes. I pay.
I pay too.
We'll pay our taxes.
But it's just like, isn't that a lot of money?
They need money.
Don't we?
They need money. So they're going to hunt. They're going to come after everybody. And, there's a lot of money that's moved offshore. But
is that what they're going to chase? Do you think they're going to chase that? Or do you think they're going to chase, like,
they're going to
middle
chase somebody
class?
sending someone on Venmo?
Right.
They're not going to chase these billionaires because they know the tax loopholes better than anyone. The flat tax always made a lot of sense to me. 25% of everything, move on. That always made a lot of sense. Whether you make $20,000 a year or $20 million, 25% flat tax or something like that, 20, whatever it is, 20%, whatever it is, flat tax. But then you go, okay, if you do that, then what happens to all these accountants and the big accounting firms and all that whole entire sector of the economy that's run based on how complicated our tax code is? And then you start to realize, oh shit, like Thomas Sowell said, there's really no solutions, there's only trade-offs. Because no matter what you do, you're going to create other problems by doing it.
Right. Right.
You're going to lay off all these people whose entire career is spent on analyzing this arcane and very complex tax code. They're not going to have a job. Now, that doesn't mean that the ends don't justify the means or that it isn't a greater benefit. But, all of these things become kind of a racket. They're just a racket.
Yeah.
And if you come in and get rid of the racket, people are going to go, hey, man, what the fuck? It's why the entertainment business, it's like a racket. Like, why are there, like, when you go to a movie set, there's like 30 people standing around doing nothing. It's a racket. All of those people have jobs that are supposedly necessary. But now you can take a phone and film something and have more people see it than a television show that they put millions and millions of dollars into. But it's just a racket.
If they just did a 25% flat tax, how much money would they lose? Because 25% seems like a lot. Now, you include, like sales tax. I mean, there's so many different taxes, right? So if someone's
on
just
income, like an
right,
income.
but if someone's just spending, if the only tax you had is 25% of your income, that's it.
Well, no, there'd be sales, there'd be other taxes. I just mean on your income.
Why are sales taxes a thing? Explain that. If
It's
the corporation is paying taxes on the money that they make, and you're paying taxes on the money that you spend, why is there an additional tax whenever you want to use your money?
No, it's a racket.
And it's a lot of money.
It's a
not a
goddamn
small
racket.
amount of money.
Oh, no.
What is sales tax?
This is criminal. It's criminal activity. It's a racket.
What's sales tax here in Texas?
8%?
10%? Texas at least doesn't have state tax.
6.25, but it depends on exactly what it is. There's
6.25.
Yeah, Texas is good. It doesn't have a state income.
So what's the worst state in terms of state income tax? Or
New York and California are both very bad.
But I meant sales tax. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Do you know, Jamie?
I believe. I'm looking right now. California. Well, see, it depends on what it is. Right now, I'm looking at a map that says Texas is 8.19%.
That sucks.
It's combined.
Well, Texas has got to run their state. So if they don't have income,
I understand, but
they got to have high property taxes.
But what I'm saying is, wouldn't it be like super simple if it was only you get taxed on income?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, because you're gonna the money's gonna go to people anyway. The money is gonna go to taxes anyway, because that money is like, if you're making money and you're paying taxes on your money, and then you're spending that money, and the person who earns that money is also paying taxes. Why is there tax in the exchange?
I think that Portland, it looks like, doesn't have one. Oregon.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So
it's a county thing too, also, which is
Oregon doesn't have it, so we're going to Portland.
So two places don't have sales tax.
Let's move to Portland.
Is that Wyoming?
Montana.
It's Montana. Montana doesn't have sales tax.
There's not a lot of people there to collect from, but.
There's more people now because of
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Do you think you'll do a big ranch eventually?
Sometime, yeah.
Like a big Wyoming type of ranch?
I might have to.
That might be amazing.
That might be the move.
Pretty sick.
I'm going to need my own water.
Like a Montana, like a crazy ranch. You see the show Yellowstone?
Yeah, I love it. Show. It was good till season 3.
Oh, okay. I watched season 4 on a plane, and it was fine.
Yeah, maybe season 4. One of the seasons, it drops off. There was like an episode where you're like, well, who wrote this?
What was the episode?
I forgot. It's just
crazy.
Yeah. I don't want to criticize the show because I like it.
It's a fun show, but I think that seeing you do a thing like that would be cool. I almost think of buying property out there. It's going up in value intensely.
Well, people are trying to escape from urban environments.
That's
and they
right.
realize that remote work was a possibility.
That's right.
That's the thing that's interesting to me, where these corporations are pushing back against remote work.
Yeah.
Like, did you guys operate just fine while everybody was working at home? Like, why do you want people back in the office?
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I would think that because they could save money on real estate, they wouldn't want people back. I don't know.
I think a little bit of it is that to control employees better, you want to be around them.
That's right.
Like, all of the weird office politics evaporate. They go away. They go away if it's a Zoom thing.
That's
you might not. You might be annoyed by that person when you have to interact with them. Like, oh, it's him again.
Right.
But you're not around them all day.
Strange.
Yeah,
it's
you're at
strange that
home.
they want people back.
You're at home. Anytime you do, you can just get up and do whatever you want. And then they're developing apps that people are installing on their computer, and they're getting busted for it because they have these apps that move the cursor around. Because these people they're tracking your keys and making sure you work in some organizations if you're working remotely.
It's crazy.
You're not. It's not as simple as, oh, I'll get all my work done on my own time at home. No, they want you in front of your computer, and they want to make sure you're using your computer. So people are using like these apps that like move your key around and
Jeez.
move your cursor around and click on things
to make sure that you're working.
I think it's a cursor. I think it's all it has to do is move your cursor. See if you can find that. Is that it?
No, I'm sorry. You're right.
Oh, is it? What is it? It's a cursor?
Yeah, it's like just a little mouse thing that just drags your mouse.
So it just shows to the person that is tracking you that you're actually sitting at your desk moving stuff around.
That's crazy. That makes no sense. But yeah, I guess they're just like people are working an hour a day.
Yeah.
And we don't want to pay them.
I think that's exactly what's happening. But I think there's a lot of people that are in offices that are fucking off and playing Wordle.
Oh, yeah.
It's all day long.
But at least they're fucking off in front of us.
Yeah, because if you're sitting
that's
in your
why you have a
cubicle-
manager. Then what do you do with the manager?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So it's like, this is part of the thing. It's like, you get rid of something, then what do you do with all these people whose job is to like enforce the rules? What do you do with them?
In the old days, the manager used to always try to bang a secretary. It was normal.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Right.
Right? That's what they did.
That's why the managers were there.
They all did it. And now you can't do it anymore.
Can't do it.
It's interesting, right? That
It's
whole
very interesting.
environment, that whole work. I mean, it's the fucking oldest trope ever.
Yeah.
The boss bangs his secretary. How many times have you heard that one?
It's over now.
Yeah.
Well, thank God this worked because
you
I
don't
don't know
think
what.
that's still
Thank
going
God
on?
we don't have to work like in that environment
God.
because it's like the things we would say, we would just like I just am thankful that I don't have to walk into an office and like have to participate in that because I did it for years, but like that fake, phony bullshit culture of like, hello and good to see you. And
it's so bad for your head.
Yeah,
because you have to do it all day long. You're not free until you get out of there.
And it really just is exhausting to do. And I'm happy I don't have to do that.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. That you don't have to.
You went through it. I fortunately never had an office job. I had a lot of shitty jobs, but there were never any office jobs.
I went through it. I went through the fake, nice, hi, hey.
Dude. I
went through people pulling you aside, telling you all their problems with another person. You have nothing to do with it. And they're like, this is how Chuck fucked me on this. He promised me this. I didn't get it, And you're standing there going, oh, yeah, that happened. Oh, that's unfortunate. And you have nothing to do with any of it. And that's what a lot of it is. You're just wasting time getting up. I'll go to the bathroom. You take a loop around you walk around the office one way. I'll take the long way because you don't have anything to do. You got to look busy, taking files out of your desk. Oh, let me call these people. Like, it's a lot of it's looking busy. A lot of it's fucking, lunch. Finally, the one part of the day I can fucking leave.
Yeah.
I go smoke a cigarette in a parking lot and feel like a human being. And then you have to go back, and you're like, fuck, we're back,
It's a prison for people.
It is.
That's what it is.
It's a prison.
It's a prison, and people get stuck in it, and they don't know what the fuck to do, and they can't get out of it because now they bought a bunch of shit.
And the game for most people is to make your life as good as you can outside of there so that you go, fuck it. Like, I have a great family, and this is for them.
Yeah.
Providing for them, and I go on vacation, and we enjoy it, and I make my house nice, and I enjoy being in my house. Because most people, when you go into an environment like that, you just, you're losing all sense of who you are. You have to mold into this dumb corporate, like corporations are always kind of corralling you into these things, and like, that's why they do all the corporate events. And
it's so unnatural. It's so unnatural for people to not just interact that way and be stuck inside all day like that, but also to like exist in this fucking culture where everybody's full of shit all day, agreeing that they're all full of shit.
Oh yeah, and it's just part of what it is. And like that, I did it for a while, but I was in a sales office. We had a little more freedom, but it's still the same type of office where a lot of it is, based on these weird relationships where you're kind of like, okay, we're here.
Yeah.
We're all just here, and we all have to find something about each other we can tolerate.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah. And
sometimes you're stuck with people day in, day out.
That's right.
That annoy the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
Want you to believe their politics, want you to listen to their fucking justifications for things.
That's right. Thank God. We thank God we don't have to do that.
Thank God.
Thank God.
But I knew I never could. I always thought I was destined to be a fucking loser because I couldn't keep a job. I did zero ambition to have like a job in an office somewhere.
Well, you wanted to escape, as Andrew Tate would say, to escape the Matrix. You did it. If you can do it, you can do it. Not everyone can do it. But
I didn't think I was doing it.
No.
That's my point, is that I wasn't doing it saying I'm escaping the Matrix.
Yeah.
I was thinking I'm such a fucking loser.
Yeah.
I can't discipline myself enough to have a job like all these other people who I'm seeing succeeding.
Right.
I can't do it.
Well, there's a real value now to being for the vast majority of my childhood, the value was in being a conformist, to conforming.
Yeah.
And that was where the money was, and that was where the security was, and that's where your good social life was. Now, being a non-conformist and going out and doing your own thing and being a self-starter and being independent and being able to collaborate with people you want, like that, the value now is there.
Yeah.
It's not going into these faceless institutions where you get lost in them. It's being your own thing, no matter what you do. It's being your own thing. That's a massive change from when I grew up and everything was brand names and the right school and the right neighborhood and the right country club or the right whatever. Now, being independent and creating your own world is certainly, desirable, much more so than falling into like some nameless corporation and becoming like a number.
Yeah. It's just people have this path that's carved in front of them by their father and their uncles and all these other people that are around them that have done reasonably well for themselves.
Yeah.
And they think this is the only route. And if you don't follow that route, your parents will get mad at you. But I think there's a lot of different routes out there now.
There is.
One thing that opened up people's eyes during the pandemic is there was a lot of people doing something they didn't want to do, and it got taken away from them.
That's right.
And then they realized, oh my God, I was spending all my time doing something I didn't want to do, and now it's gone through no fault of my own.
And that's why service sucks now. You can't. You call to get room service. They're not there for 2 hours. Someone's writing a play. It's like, hey, let's fucking get the mozzarella sticks. Cut it out. Not everyone is meant to do. Like some people, it does make more sense to conform because it's who they are, and their greatest joys in life are not monetizable, right? So a lot of people go, I really enjoy things I can't make money off of. So they go, I got to go do something I can make money off of so that I can go enjoy those other things where I can't make money. There's nothing wrong with that either. But now more and more, I think people are going, can I make money off what I enjoy doing? Right. Is there an audience? Is there a market? Do people want to buy something that I can, can I make money off what I enjoy?
Yeah, I think that's happening more and more. And that's a good thing. It's like not all jobs are bad either. There's a lot of people that have jobs they really enjoy. They have great people they work with. They're having a great time. But the office thing always scared the shit out of me. Being trapped in this fucking cubicle, being told what you can and can't do.
Well, you're part of this organism that everyone's on the same page. It's kind of like North Korea. You all are like, this is the way we do things. This is our way. The other ways are wrong. This is the way we treat each other.
Yeah.
This is the way we interact. The other ways are wrong. If you joke around a certain way, that is wrong. You are to do, there's all this approved corporate humor where the VP will get up and say something really dumb and, you're at the conference, you have to go, oh, he's fucking hilarious. But he's not. And everyone knows he's not. But it is that type of totalitarian structure that some people can really thrive in and then work their way up. And that's a lot of the thing with comedy now is a lot of people that have writers' jobs or work in the business. A lot of them are very good at office politics, and a lot of them are very good at maneuvering. And a lot of the really funny people who are fucking lunatics who aren't good at any of that shit are shut out, or they're not able to, some of the funniest people you'll meet will never have careers because they just can't, for whatever reason, figure out a way to approach it in a professional manner.
Yeah.
But they're fucking hilarious. Some of the funniest people that I meet or have met or I've seen at open mics, I'm just like, that guy's genuinely kind of crazy, but he's just a little too crazy. You got to be in the zone of crazy where you go, oh, that still can treat this like a job. And some people are just a little out there where they can't do it.
Well, some people just don't have a good grip on reality.
That's right.
And they say funny things, but then everything else is chaos.
Everything else is chaos, and everything can't be chaos.
And sometimes you just have a sense of things that are funny, and you know how to do it, and you have the enough crazy to be able to go up there and deliver it correctly.
Yeah, or you just want to, or you can work and treat people decently, and you're not a lunatic who will start problems. If there's all these interpersonal, you got to have business relationships with people, and they have to be good.
Yeah, they have to be good. It's, imagine being a manager of a fucking office, and then imagine everybody just working from home now.
Right.
And you have to monitor their keystrokes and make sure that they're moving their cursor around.
You want them back in. You want them under that boot.
So that must mean that they have access to like what websites they use and shit on their company computer.
Oh yeah,
it must be, right?
Oh yeah.
Because the thing was like this woman got in trouble because she installed it on a computer that was a work computer,
right?
And that's how they figured it out.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. These are the challenges going forward because I think a lot more of the workforce will probably work remotely for a portion of the week.
But why don't they just give you a workload and then you do it whenever the fuck you want when you're home? Like, wouldn't that be better? Like,
people,
if you just
I guess.
I don't know what the job is, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't work that way. Maybe you're monitoring things, so you have a specific time you're supposed to be working on projects that are happening in real time.
Are people more productive at home? That's the real question.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, it's definitely productive in that you don't have to get in traffic. It's definitely productive, like all that time.
But you're a very evolved person. There's, you're thinking of it like most people, if they're not told to put on clothes or to do like they won't do it. So a lot of people just need that push to just, actually, I don't know how productive it is if you're sitting on your couch, you don't have to go anywhere. I mean, some people, these people that work at tech companies kind of know how to do it, but like,
right.
I don't know. I think also for your social life, just to get out of your house, to meet people, to function in society, there might be benefits to not working exclusively from your home.
Definitely
also, some
benefits in
people
isolation.
live with roommates, and they're like, I want to get the fuck out of here.
Right.
So that's another pro, especially in cities like New York or San Fran or LA or people, even Austin's not cheap. Like, some people go, yeah, I live with 2 people. I can't work, you know?
Right.
So now you're in your room. So now it's not even your apartment. It's like you have to work from your room. So it's weird.
I didn't even consider that, but that is definitely a consideration too.
That's right.
But also, some people just want a choice. Like, just give me a workload. Let me be able to do it at home.
Right.
But I get the idea of, like, if you've got employees that were shifty already.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're working from home. Like,
Forget it.
Why isn't this project on my desk?
Because
like, haven't you finished this?
All work essentially could be from home if you weren't in a customer service position where people were coming up to you.
Right.
If they were not in your physical presence, anything could be done from home. The reality is, I don't know how. Now, maybe there are studies that say it's more productive. I don't know. But if these companies want people to come back to commercial real estate that they're paying for, it's not because they're more productive. They're probably saying we want them back so that we can crack the whip. Because otherwise they would just say, fuck it, we don't need this $50,000 a month lease on this office. Fuck it.
That's the big one. It's the bubble, the big bubble. I mean, if you look around at how many places are for lease.
Oh, tons.
Oh, my God.
Commercial real estate.
So much. It's everywhere. It's all over the place. And I think you think about how many restaurants and small shops went under during the pandemic.
Yeah.
It was a big fucking number.
So many.
All those places are available.
All of them.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure some of them have been taken up by new businesses, but
there's a lot of people that are going to open. I think hopefully we'll eventually take advantage of that.
Do you think that people are going to learn their lesson from this, though?
No.
In terms of like not locking down the economy again?
I don't think they'll lock it down again unless. Here's what I don't think. I don't think people learn lessons. This is something I believe. I don't believe that lessons are learned ever. We have really short memories. People will forget. I don't know if we'll get another pandemic again that'll require, the type of intense focus and energy.
We easily could, though. We easily could.
We absolutely could. But I think it'll go back. Again, this became this weird political football, kind of almost from the beginning.
Yeah.
It was not a mature country looking at this going, what the fuck's going on? It was a lot of people fighting for power and relevance, and there were a lot of people using all of these things politically for their own purposes. Will that stop? I don't know. That's a big and much larger question. Like, will whether it's a pandemic or a war or anything, will there be any point in our country where we can look at a problem and not make it this political firestorm where there's winners and losers? Will we ever be able to collectively evaluate a problem and tackle it without retreating into these ideological camps? I don't know.
That would be the only way to get us out of this.
That's right.
If we ever realize that the problems that we have with issues are far smaller than the problems or the issues that we agree on. Like, everybody agrees we have to have less crime. Everybody agrees that we have to have more education. Everybody agrees that we have to have safer streets and safer cities. Everybody agrees that.
That's right.
And the things that we disagree on, will people disagree on, like, how to make those things a reality, though? Yeah. How do you have less crime? Is it by letting
it's also
people out of jail?
Us being divided helps. It helps people who want to just continually operate in the system as it's constructed. And whether that is the system of perpetual war or the system of the banking sector, the dominance of the financial sector, or the system is tech companies set up to have these political relationships, how they're presently constituted. People who are thriving in this system and using it to their ends do not want it changed. And people hating each other helps them.
It definitely does. Do you think that that's just human nature?
Yes.
And you're just doing it while this is happening? Or do you think it's orchestrated? This is the question, right? Is the dissent and is some of it? We know it's manipulated by other countries.
Yes.
We know that China does it. We know that they have these huge Russian organizations that in their troll farms.
Yeah.
You know, we know that that's going on. The idea that we wouldn't do that to ourselves if we were trying to get people riled up about each other.
To an extent, is probably an inherent flaw in democracy, but I'm glad I lived in one, and I'm glad I lived in the time I did. But I do think, you know, a democracy kind of descends probably into an oligarchy eventually. The vast majority of the citizens go, I don't want the responsibility of citizenship. So a few really highly motivated psychopaths go, we'll handle it. We'll take it from here. And then those people are fighting over their own interests constantly.
Do you think it should be illegal to pretend to represent a human being when you're a corporation that is promoting your own needs? So do you think that, like, a corporation that hires, whether it's a foreign corporation, let's say it's a foreign one, so it's not connected to us, that hires a company to propagandize about a specific political issue that's going to be a hot button target, and they do it as a bunch of people that attack people, and go after people with dissenting opinions and quote tweet them and attack them, and you find out it's not even a real person.
Right.
That should be illegal. That seems to me like if we're allowing that in this country.
Oh, yeah. But we'll continue to allow anyone with enough money.
Right, but don't you think that thing right there, just that's insidious? Like pretending you're a person for a specific propaganda and having it like 1,000 accounts and you're running it through computers and you've got people that are responding to things. You got people that are just retweeting things and posting things, and it's all just propaganda.
It's insane that the Congress, the Congress members who went and started trading stocks based on the knowledge of how bad coronavirus was still have jobs, right? All of this is kind of insane. We're just at peak insanity here. And there's, you know, I mean...
Are we at the peak?
I don't know if we're at the peak, but we're close to it. Like, I do believe with the way things are going, and you're looking at some really crazy trends. And I don't know when they come to a conclusion, and if they do... without something, you know, a war or some violent or whatever. But, like, it is just, you know, we're living in a time now where we all know everything's fucked, but we're mostly powerless to change it. And that's when societies start to decay past a point, and everybody just kind of sits back and watches it like a show, and it just descends into eventually something that becomes more and more unmanageable. And then either a strongman dictator type comes in, or there's some massive war that resets things, or there's some natural disaster. But it feels like we're kind of at that point, you know? That's why I'm glad we lived in the era that we lived. And we really should just be happy. We should be really happy. We should go, it's nice that we got the run we did, because it's not getting better. I mean,
here's what's interesting.
Or maybe it will, and God bless.
When I was a kid, I remember reading about like the fall of the Roman Empire and the fall of the Greek Empire. And then I was thinking about America.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this thing going to go away someday?
Right.
Is that possible? Is it possible that this is just one? I mean, we want to think it's fucking permanent, but I bet the people of Rome felt the same way.
Of course they did.
This is how it is. This is how I live every day. This is not going to change.
Right.
And Russians know.
They know.
They know.
Their
know
society's collapsed.
They've been through it.
Our society will go down. Nothing will ever be funnier. America will come apart in one of the funniest ways. All of these people, these grifters, everybody circling the wagons, the Caitlyn Jenners, the Donald Trumps. It'll be funny till you'll die laughing. Literally, you'll die, but you will be laughing. It will be the most absurd and insane thing. It will be out of a fucking dystopian horror movie, and it won't be funnier than America, because we're a crazy country full of crazy people, and everybody's just trying to suck the last few dollars out of this bloated pig corpse of an empire before the end. And I'm no different. Watch my special and subscribe to my pod. What am I going to fucking sit here? What am I going to go preach on a fucking mountain? We got to make a little money here. But make no mistake, I mean, if I'm wrong, and I'd love to be wrong, but if your attitude or your idea is that the population's going to get smarter, healthier, and more adept at problem solving, you're on fucking crack.
Oh. Yeah, probably. You're probably right.
Yeah.
Well, what happens next? Like, do you think we ever descend into some sort of like CCP controlled world, like that kind of totalitarian government? Do you think it's possible that through technology and just through people just falling apart, getting losing their fucking minds, thinking it's the right thing to do?
I think what happens next is we'll just have, these giant oscillating swings between right and left. And then I think, eventually it'll get to a point where large areas in the country are unlivable for a myriad of reasons, perhaps crime or homelessness, climate, whatever. Very well off or well connected people will have these kind of enclaves this is already happening. And then there'll be, a fight to be in one of those two groups, and then eventually a dictator, a strong man, somewhere down the line, some man or woman will come in and go, this system's fucked. I am going to run things, and they will run things in a way, and it probably won't be for the best, but like the system will collapse. But I don't know if we'll see it, but it will collapse. There's no way it doesn't. It will collapse to a degree. And someone will come in and go, yeah, these elections are all fake and it doesn't matter anyway. Why do you fuckers need to vote? Here's a coupon for a chicken sandwich. And people go, I like chicken. And then, people just go, fuck it. They don't care. And then you go, there'll be Netflix and there'll be Domino's and you'll sit in your house and they'll say, well, you can't drive today because of the climate. And people go, yeah, it's Tuesday. Can't get in my car because of climate. And you'll sit there and they'll feed you poison and you'll watch TV. And a few people will riot, but very few, because most people will be pacified by the goodies, which they'll still probably have. And, the leader will come on and tell, they'll be like, hello, everyone. And you'll go, hey, there. And it'll be a celebrity. It'll be someone you know. It'll be someone you're very familiar with, and they'll say a couple of things and be like, it's not that bad, is it? And they go, no, it's not that bad. And they'll feed you the propaganda, and you won't remember when you were free, and you won't remember. And most people will be fine with that, but me and you will be dead. And it won't matter. And we'll have experienced the best of it. We'll remember when you could get in a car without a tracking device. We'll remember when you didn't have a fucking tracking device attached to you at all times. We'll remember when you could say what the fuck you want, alienate people, piss them off, and no one really cared and it didn't matter because you could wake up the next day and say, sorry, I was drunk, and it wasn't on fucking Twitter. People didn't have a record of what you did and what you said and where you were and who you fucked and everything else. We will remember true freedom. We're one of the last groups of people to actually be free. And we should all thank God for that, because the hellscape that's about to be created is going to be so bad they won't even know how bad it is. It won't even feel like they're in prison, because those offices we talked about, people, they get to like them. Oh, there's creamer today. French vanilla. It's your favorite. Ugh. It's coming. It's coming, and it's going to be so bad it won't even feel bad. But we'll be like, shit. Remember when you could do all those things you can't do anymore. But, and there'll be a few people that remember it, and then they'll take all those books about that shit and burn the fuck out of them. They'll go, well, those aren't good. Racism, homophobia, it's not burn. And people will forget when you were free, and they will just kind of create a society based on goodies, little rewards, and the addiction to celebrity, where our leaders will all be celebrities who will tell you on closed circuit television how good things are going. And you'll go, good, thanks. That's what's going to happen.
That was one of the best rants I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Well, that was fantastic. I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong, or if I'm right, I just hope that I'm dead, or I get to be one of the people who's keeping everyone else in the cage. They'll need a jester. They'll need a clown.
They could toss society on its head right now.
That's right.
If they went to a digital currency and said we're going to have an even distribution of wealth.
Yeah.
And that there's the way to solve the inequities of society is an even distribution of all the wealth. So they would just take all the wealth from all the powerful people.
That's right.
So then they wouldn't have any wealth anymore. So they wouldn't have any ability to rise against the government.
Yeah.
If you wanted to live in like a total technocratic dictatorship where the technology completely dominates it from the top down, we're going there. We're
headed there.
We're more headed there than any other direction.
That's why we laugh at NFTs, but these are the little goodies and the treats, and look at the thing, and look at the shiny thing you're being given, and you know.
But I mean, what's the solution to that? I mean, it seems like it's going in this general direction no matter what we do. It's like we're headed down a snow-covered hill in a fucking toboggan.
Oh yeah,
and we're going there. So like, what does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, does it mean that there is a decentralized world because it gets so powerful that no one can really control it, and that the people involved in the organization have too much power to say whether or not things are openly and freely distributed? Like, is that the bottleneck ultimately, that when we get to a certain point where technology becomes so fucking advanced that it's basically everything is integrated with everything, you can't hide anything from anybody,
right?
And everybody has access to all the information. And then the problem with that is, like, what about people that want to like hold on to things physically? What about people that want like actual physical wealth?
Yeah.
Like, is that what we're going to have? Like, is all your money going to be in stuff now?
Yeah.
You're going to have gold bars in your house again now?
Yeah.
Because digital money might not mean anything anymore. It might get to a certain point where it's just distribution of resources.
It's crazy.
And that's when we're losing genders, and that's when we're losing we're going to fucking have giant heads, and we're all going to be like moving through space and time. This is all coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
We're all going to jump right on board, too, because they're going to come up with something, whether it's Neuralink or something else, that just makes life way better. They're going to give you this chip. They're going to put something in. You're always happy. There's no more war because everybody loves everybody. You're much smarter than you used to be. You get access to information constantly. You have, like, error correction software built in. It's going to be wonderful. You're going to have a much, 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 much better life. You're going to laugh at those people with no chips.
That's right.
Just like we laughed at people that didn't have shoes.
That's why it's hard to, like, get too worked up or upset about it, because the reality is certain ideas just have a weird inertia to them that will happen anyway. So
they happen from the moment the first caveman knocked on flint, from that barefoot caveman just knocking rocks together.
That's right.
And it kept getting better and better and better, and now it's achieved escape velocity. It's achieved this chaos of the combination of materialism, because everybody's obsessed with phones, everybody's obsessed with new things,
fame and money.
But no, you're buying new and new stuff,
right? And
they keep making better. And what's it going to do? It's going to be more. You're going to be more integrated.
That's
more integrated in the internet.
It's, but we can't worry about it.
It's not. You're not going to stop it.
You won't stop it.
It seems like a thing that the human animal does.
It's what we do up until we hit that zenith point when maybe the meteor hits, it all goes away, and then a couple of years later, people build it back up.
Or we become those things that we see flying around the sky.
That could happen, too.
I think that's the future. I think what we're seeing is like what a civilization looks like when it gets past what we're at.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think we're looking at us right now as if like this is the most sophisticated thing ever, because it is for this place.
That's true.
But we look back at like our caveman.
And we're
like, this is
archaic,
ridiculous. Imagine living like that. But
so
this is just what we're going to look at this like.
Once we find a way to travel intergalactically, that's the move.
We're going to realize like all the problems that people had are instantaneously solvable. All the chaos in our lives, all the war and death and murder and chaos and horrific things that happen, all that is can erase with technology. That's what's going to be scary. Because we're not going to be people anymore.
Yeah, but maybe
I think we're the last people.
Maybe we've been people long enough.
I think it's our future. I don't think there's a thing we're going to do to stop it. I think that's our future.
I think you're probably right.
I think it can't go in any other direction unless the volcano blows.
Yeah.
Unless asteroid hits, volcano blows.
All possibilities.
100%. And likely, too.
Yeah.
The Yellowstone one freaks me out.
The super volcano?
Oh, my God. That's due. That could, like, they don't know when. They say, like, every 600,000 to 800,000 years it blows up. And
it's past due.
Yeah, it's past due.
Yeah.
So it could easily happen 1,000 years from now, 100,000 years from now.
Or never.
Or tomorrow. Tomorrow. Could be thousands of earthquakes. They have thousands of earthquakes there every year, by the way.
But that's why you can't worry about anything.
Can't worry about anything.
That's why you really can't worry too much about anything.
What is that quote that I used the other day that someone said that the problem, I forget who was talking about this, but they were talking about anxiety, and it's humans' ability to problem solve in the future, and that it becomes a problem because you start thinking about potential problems instead of just like living in the moment. And people are always thinking about, oh my God, what if this happens? What if that happens? Then this could, and they like develop problems in the future so they don't get surprised by
That's
it.
right.
So it's a little trap that your mind plays.
What
on
we're
yourself.
doing here is amazing. The idea that we can talk to people, in this way versus, what we would have had to do to reach people even really 20 years ago, which is nothing, 15 years ago, nothing in terms of the time in all of history. It's such a short amount of time. It's an infinitesimal, it barely registers. And this massive, massive fucking technological innovation that has happened in that short amount of time that's revolutionized the world completely. That can happen in biotech and how our trip to becoming non-human may not take as long as we think. It might be pretty fucking quick. Yeah.
I think it's going to be real quick. I think once we adopt the first devices, and those devices make life way easier for the people that have them, it's going to be expensive, right? Probably. And then you would think that the people that have the money are going to get a giant advantage by having it, because it really does increase the bandwidth to access to information, and you could be much more productive. The way Elon was describing it, it's like you're going to supercharge your mind ultimately.
Yes.
Initially, they're going to use it for people with injuries, spinal cord injuries, and medical problems,
right.
And they're going to be able to somehow or another activate areas of the spine, which is wild shit in and of itself.
Yeah.
But if then you make it a fucking super person, you're literally going to make an Iron Man? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are we doing? And where does it go from there? Because once they start using CRISPR on people, do you know the Chinese story?
No.
Oh, this is a good one.
CRISPR?
Yeah. You know what CRISPR is?
No.
CRISPR is genetic engineering.
Oh, okay.
It's genetic, there's
Blue
a
eyes,
technology.
brown eyes, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's initially they were using it. They were trying to see if it could be used to eliminate genes that cause certain diseases.
Yeah.
Right. And so, this is what they did in China. They said they were inoculating these children for HIV. So now they can't get. But it just by happenstance made them much smarter.
Right.
It increased their IQ substantially.
Interesting.
And I think they put the doctor in jail after it was over.
Amazing.
The Chinese were like, we didn't have anything to do with that. This man's a criminal.
Right.
See if that's the case. I don't think I'm fucking that up too bad. I probably am a little. But the story was that they were supposed to be giving them some sort of inoculation for HIV. What CRISPR baby prison sentences mean for research. Chinese courts send strong signal by punishing He Jiankui and two colleagues. It was like, what did they do? What did it say? The biophysicist who announced that he had created the world's first gene-edited babies to 3 years in prison. They sentenced him for illegal medical practice and handed down shorter sentences to two colleagues who assisted him. The punishments put to rest speculation over whether the Chinese government would bring criminal charges for an act that shocked the world and are likely to deter others from similar behavior, says Chinese scientists. By the way, this thing that shocked the world, they're going to do it on all babies. It's going to take time, but they're going to do it on all babies.
Right.
Because why wouldn't you do it?
To make them smarter.
Well, what if you found out your baby had a genetic defect?
You got to make it better,
Why would you, So anyway, what does it say that he did and what the result was? Because what was very strange about the result was that there was this positive increase in cognitive function. I gotta think that's not a fucking accident.
I can't be.
I can't imagine that they really were worried about these children contracting HIV.
There's no way it's an accident.
Not what you would. That's not what you would think would be a focus. But if I was in a communist country and I was trying to make the best thing for the government, what's the best thing for the government? Super fucking smart people.
That's right.
So let's get some super smart people on board and run this shit with geniuses.
Fuck yeah.
So I don't know if they allowed him to do it, if they gave him a license to do it, or if he's rogue. But it seems like that's a weird.
It seems like it was probably a wink and a nod.
I mean, they do have unintended consequences, right? Wasn't.
There's no way they're inoculating babies for HIV.
I doubt it.
There's no way.
It just doesn't seem like that's what you would do.
Seems odd.
I don't think
sexually
the baby's gonna
transmitted
get AIDS.
disease. It's crazy.
It seems odd.
Seems like they were probably trying to see if,
like sometimes they do medicate. Like what was Viagra was for like blood pressure or something like that, right? Wasn't it like?
Yeah, there's things like that.
And they find out, it works for this.
Oh, you're right.
Look
right.
at that. But not that.
Right.
Where you're gene editing and you make someone wicked smart.
No way.
What was the increase in IQ that they found, or the evidence of increase in intelligence? Because there was some sort of evidence. I don't know what tests they use.
Yeah.
But they're fucking super smart people. But tell me they haven't already done that.
Oh, for sure.
We're hearing about the first ones, really?
There's definitely cases, I'm sure, that were experimental.
How would they have tested the IQ? I'm trying to find it right now. And I'm thinking about you can't test a baby's IQ.
That's what I'm asking. I mean, what did they use to detect intelligence?
I remember reading that though, but
yeah, I did too. I just don't remember what exactly they used or how old the babies are. Maybe the baby's already talking. Listen, man. I got some shit to tell you.
Maybe the
They have
baby's
an
like, listen.
enhanced ability to learn and form memories, but
may also have an enhanced their ability to. Oh no, but that's just in the title. What does it say down? Like, how did they find out that it?
Well, it may have.
Goddamn pop-ups.
I don't know if they.
Yeah,
would have.
Do you have to subscribe to this bitch?
The babies came out and were like, "Fuck Taiwan," and like, God, they're smart.
Right
Their
out
first
of the box.
2 words. Yeah,
they already knew.
It's a scary world. That stuff's not going to change
because of the gene that was edited. It has to do with that.
Okay,
stuff.
now new research shows the same alteration introduced into the girl's DNA, detection of a gene called CCR5, not only makes mice smarter, but also improves human brain recovery after stroke and could be linked to greater success at school. Okay, duh. The answer is likely yes. It did affect their brains, says Alcino J. Silva, a neurobiologist at the University of California, Los Angeles, whose lab uncovered a major new role for CCR5 gene in memory and the brain's ability to form new connections. Sorry, it's getting darker as the screen goes on.
Right.
So we're too cheap to buy it.
Yeah.
What is that website, though? Give them a plug.
MIT.
MIT.
Yeah, they
MIT
need help.
wants your money.
MIT needs help.
You put that out there, kids. Come on, it's for higher learning. We're trying. So they obviously did that shit on purpose.
100%.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Well, you're already in there.
And it's the thing is
How about
like,
fix it? Give him a big dick. What if they got him the big dick?
Yeah,
gene?
it's hard to even argue against it. I know that we shouldn't, and we shouldn't manipulate life and da 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 da. But that's not going to win that argument.
No, it's not going to win that argument.
No.
It's one of those things where when you give people the ability to do something that can substantially increase a person's potential in everything.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you do it? Because you want to be able to do it to yourself.
Competitive advantage, and you're giving them a big one.
And you're doing that to babies, but I think the idea is to do it to people.
Everybody.
And I think they've done some things to people. Like, what have they used CRISPR on for, like, a live patient, not an embryo? What have they done with CRISPR that...
Well, they're trying to do a lot with stem cells.
Yes, they're definitely doing a lot with but that's different.
That's different.
Yeah, that doesn't have nearly the same impact. Like, what stem cells do is they allow you to heal.
CRISPR is like deleting the genes.
CRISPR is like altering the code. It's like a guy who knows DOS and he gets into your fucking laptop. It's like, Tim, I'm going to fix your thing. Like,
right.
Like, you're in the code of the fucking human body.
Right.
And if you can delete genes that have problematic results in a certain percentage of the population, you could literally like eliminate specific genetic diseases that people have.
Right.
You could make sure that babies are not going to have any issues as they're developing in the womb. Like, you'd be able to correct things ultimately one day. And that's what's going to lead people to get excited about it, and then it's going to continue to escalate. It's going to be something that's everywhere. Okay, so what does it say here? The first use of an ex vivo CRISPR-based therapy to treat a genetic disease, researchers treated a patient with beta thalassemia in Germany in February 2019. 12 more patients have since been treated, and 7 of them have been followed for at least 3 months. None of the patients need blood transfusions in the months after treatment. The first patient with SCD was treated with the same therapy in Nashville, Tennessee in July 2019. This patient, Victoria Gray, has shown remarkable progress. Hear from Gray herself. Early results on other patients are promising too. All patients treated for SCD or beta thalassemia are showing normal to near normal hemoglobin levels. Holy shit. Where at least 30% of them or 40% of them of hemoglobin is a fetal hemoglobin. In bone marrow samples taken from Gray, an additional SCD patient, and 5 beta thalassemia patients, researchers found cells with the expected genetic edit that allows them to make fetal hemoglobin. This indicates that the edited cells have successfully taken up residence in the bone marrow. The only immediate side effect associated with the treatment resulted from the administration of chemotherapy. So only the chemotherapy fucked them up. That is wild.
It's wild.
That's wild. They're fixing people with this shit.
They're fixing people.
That's the positive aspect of it. And it's amazing. But what's going to happen is everyone's going to look like Thor. We're all going to be perfect. We're just going to, and then we're going to be super. We're going to be, there's going to be people just like women have like double E fake
negative, tits. I don't know if that's, if that's the negative. If you look around at our society and you go, the problem is everyone's going to be in shape and look like Thor. I don't know. But I understand what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
We're getting rid of the natural quirkiness that makes someone different. Like, that's Rachel. She fucking never eats lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Listen. It's going to be fine. It's all going to be fine.
We're just not going to be this anymore.
We can't be.
No.
We've had enough of being human.
Well, we're just so attached to this because we've always been this, and we've always known, Abraham Lincoln was this.
Right.
But this is this.
But, the next Abraham Lincoln is going to be CRISPR.
Yeah, he's going to be a CRISPR
the fuck
person.
out.
He's going to be like that alien in Prometheus, the one who comes from another planet to
That's right.
put his genes into the DNA.
That's right.
That's what he's going to be.
That's right. And I'm ready for that.
Yeah. Remember what those dudes look like? They all look exactly the
they
same.
were like weird obsidian balls.
This is actually the best example.
Yeah.
Go to the aliens in Prometheus. This is the best example.
In shape guys,
Yeah,
but
they were
like
super fucking jacked.
Yeah.
But show them without their shirts on, because there's all these pictures of them without their shirts on. They're fucking like when the dude goes into the river, that scene in the first.
There it is.
I mean, come on. That's what we're all going to look like. That's our future. That's the future with genetic editing.
You're not hugely different from that now. You're going to have much less of a trip than I will.
But he looks even better than that. That's like, go to that photo there. Well, see if you can find the video, because the video is fascinating. Opening video.
What do you think timeline?
Prometheus.
30 years, 50 years?
50 years. Yeah. 30 to 50. By 50, everybody looks like that.
Wow.
By 50, everybody has a bulletproof body and you see through walls.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be wild.
Yeah.
And I think we're all going to embrace it because it's going to be way more fun. It's going to be way better than not. Here it is. So he goes down to the waterfall. So watch this. Takes off his robe. And he's going to kill himself and destroy his body, and his DNA is going to enter into the Earth's DNA. Look at this fucking frame on this man.
Now, why is he doing this again?
Because he wants to show you he's jacked. That's why he has to take his shirt off before he poisons himself. So he's going to, but he wants to cover his dick up because he's modest. Look at the body on that thing. That creature from another planet with a perfect physique.
And he's poisoning himself.
Yes, so he's going to poison himself, and it's going to break down his DNA, and he's going to enter into the river. See, the spaceship has dropped him off for him to populate Earth just with his DNA, and the idea is that he'll eventually integrate and become.
And this is what happened to America. This is what happened to Earth, right?
Well, I think this is a very sensationalized version of what they believe.
Right.
They believe that there was some genetic. The real kooks believe that there was genetic engineering to ancient hominids, and that's what created human beings. There were a combination of primate, lower primate, and some sort of species from another galaxy.
Seems correct. Right?
Something happened. We fucking definitely got to jump on those motherfuckers. So look how he dies. He dies and his body just destroys and falls apart, and he falls into the river and integrates. And then the idea is, I guess, that his genetic material is the building blocks for whatever life is going to emerge on that planet. So what they think happened here was that human beings have been visited from the beginning of time, and that what happened was they recognized that there was an intelligent species emerging, but they were really, really, really far behind. And so they give this intelligent species some of their genes, or they manipulate their genes and allow them to advance much quicker than all the other primates or any other animal on the planet.
And where did that intelligent race come from?
Well, it depends on who you listen to. If you listen to some of the people that think that UFOs are coming from multiple different galaxies and multiple different planets, it could be from anywhere. But if you listen to the real kooks that believe that the Anunnaki came here, you ever the Zechariah Sitchin stuff?
Yeah, dude, I'm big time. The first episode we ever did, I brought that up. Yeah.
That's the fascinating stuff. The Zechariah Sitchin stuff is the fascinating stuff because it's all based on these ancient Sumerian texts. It's very in dispute of what this guy says. There's a whole website called sitchiniswrong.com where they break down his assertions and say this is what's inaccurate, this is why it's wrong. But what's undeniable is that these people had a detailed map of the solar system 6,000 years ago that they wrote in clay that showed the sun at the center and all the planets in the correct orbit with the correct size. Not necessarily like the ratio, but this one's bigger than that one. And they had a knowledge of the cosmos in some strange way. And they also had depictions of these very tall, strange-looking figures with little monkey people on their laps.
Yeah.
And they had the symbol for DNA with like the double helix DNA.
Yeah.
They had that. And
that's crazy.
They had that symbol that they used to represent medicine. That's the same symbol. Like they had that on the walls 6,000 years ago.
They had some idea, some knowledge.
Well, it depends on who you ask. Some people say it's all just ornamental and it's all just beautiful. Zechariah Sitchin believed that what those Sumerian texts depict is that there's a planet called Nibiru. And the planet comes here, and the Anunnaki have been genetically manipulating people since the beginning
of time.
It's a fun one.
I've been in there, and I know. I mean, it's Chariots of the Gods, Eric Von Däniken, all that shit.
I had lunch with that guy.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's like whoever did this, it's like thanks, but also you fucked up a little.
Well,
you know?
Maybe they're just standing by for technology to take us into the next realm.
That's right.
I think that's probably the inevitable. I mean, I know people are like, fuck that, and I'm with you. But I'm just saying, I don't think we're going to be able to stop it.
It's coming.
It's coming. And maybe that's what the aliens are hovering around waiting for.
That's right.
They're waiting for, like, they're right about to bloom. Like, they're coming in right when the human race is about to bloom.
Right.
Like, they had a few hiccups.
Yeah.
You know, there was a late frost with the nuclear war.
Well, maybe Elon Musk is going to, maybe they'll start in Austin.
Could be.
And all these, half hybrid human aliens will just walk around eating tacos.
How long before you get a chip?
In my head?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that I don't know that anyone's offered one.
But if it started coming out.
I mean, if I was at the end of my thing, at the end of life, I would go, maybe. But, I'm going to hold on. I think we hold on to humanity as long as we can because we are that last crew.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it. And the minute we put the chip in, it's like we're done. It's over.
I got to pee so bad. I think we should wrap this up.
Yes. Joe.
Tim Dillon, you're the fucking man. That was one of the best rants I've ever heard.
We're going to clip it and put it on my Instagram. Don't sue me.
Please do. Please put it up there.
And listen, if everything ends and it's all horrible, we got a chance to live in the greatest city in the world, Austin, Texas.
We had a great time.
That's right. Thank you, brother.
Bye. I love you.